All right. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of There Will Be Duds. I am your co-host, J-Spot Jack Cheese, or TJ. And joining me, as always...
Hi, I'm Nick, a.k.a. Dr. Funk on Twitch.
I'm Travis, a.k.a. the Super General. I forgot.
I'm Tommy, and I am a moose. I'm the moose. I'm the moose from the game.
I'm the moose.
There we go. And this week, we watched a movie, and I started wearing purple. I was hoping I wouldn't be the only one, but maybe I was the only one who caught the the thing. It was in the movie, if you guys didn't.
The what?
Oh, you got it on your chair. Okay. All right.
I've got-
Yeah.
Then
I'm wearing maroon.
I've got like
Then-
purple
then-
accent lighting. I don't know.
Okay. Then I'll go with my other thing. And this week, call me George Harrison because I ate shit. I ate total shit today. There.
Oh my god.
Oh,
There's one, and there's two.
Holy shit, dude.
were you doing a controlled
Yeah.
slide?
Yes,
Uncontrolled
for sure.
slide.
I did. There's actually, I forgot to mention, well, because I guess I was talking to Travis and he already knew, but when I landed, for people in the audience, I did some longboarding today. And that was, the result is skinned elbows, a pained bum, a bruised side, a cut knee,
A bruised
But-
ego.
No, I was gonna say, but not
okay.
a hurt pride, because I'm kind of okay that I got fucked up while like longboarding.
I feel like
don't
it
know,
gives you
doesn't feel
street cred.
embarrassing. Yeah, right. Because
No,
I
it'll
have some of the street in me now.
Yeah, you've become
Is
one
that how
with
it
the pavement.
works?
Oh, it's still in there actually.
You get the
I-
opposite because you wiped out.
No, there's a. Fuck, I'm gonna have to deal with that later. I didn't mention, but so I tore a hole in my sleeve, like you guys heard me telling him before when I wiped out.
Hardcore.
And there's it's like a foot long of shreds of my shirt, like on the pavement. Like I hit, and like you can see the blue from my jacket on
That's
the
awesome.
pavement.
Oh
And-
my god.
And I took a shower, but I still have bits
Oh, he's
of
picking
my.
it.
Ew.
I'm trying to get the my shirt. My shirt.
Wait,
is
that's
still,
your shirt on your
Not
elbow?
the whole thing. It's like lining it.
Gross.
It's like lining it.
Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. No more of that.
Is that like
I actually
like
go ahead.
how you get infected by like having fucking like
That's how
polyester
you become.
in your body?
That's how you become Jacket Man. The superpower to.
Yeah.
He was bitten by a radioactive jacket.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was thinking, because after we went to that bird sanctuary yesterday, I started getting like a headache and feeling really crummy, and I thought it was because I was gonna turn into like a goose or something after that goose bite my hand so much. It was just so funny.
I
it
actually
must have-
was
so it must have
gonna
been a
change into
down
something
jacket.
for this. Hold on, I'll be right back.
Do it.
Oh, okay.
What foot were you pushing with?
Left.
What foot did you have forward?
What?
What foot did you have
I was-
in front?
I was going goofy.
So you had left back.
So I had left front.
Okay. So
yeah,
you were doing the
I
Isaiah.
was swimming the ollies and chucking the goofy 360s
Christ there.
and
That's what that's what it's called, I think.
shredding some
No, I-
gnar.
Yeah.
I actually
left-
wasn't sure.
You're
I couldn't
Shaquille
remember what it's
O'Neal,
called.
the Los
I've got-
Angeles
there you go.
Laker.
I've got one of those too.
Oh,
I
nice.
should go get mine on. Yeah, no. So you had your left foot, your back foot, you were leaving on the board when you were pushing,
Correct.
because that's what
Which is
Isaiah
my
was
right
doing.
foot. Yeah.
Yeah, Isaiah does that backwards. That's ass backwards. Don't
No, I know. That's a different way. That's called
called shit way. It's so bad.
It's called Goofy.
no,
called Goofy
no.
foot.
It's called jacket
I think I
implant
heard that.
technique.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, I'm like how's that? I'm a cyborg, but with just fabric.
Yeah, textile Borg.
Auto like patch my wounds.
I
That's all it's good for.
I ride Goofy too, but I use my right foot. You're supposed to use your back foot to push.
Yeah, I know, but like, I was doing it by myself before, and I don't know. That's what feels right to me.
If you use your back foot to push, I don't know why I'm doing like a weird DJ thing, but if
That's kind of how my hands looked when I was pushing.
And when you're
but I noticed my right hand every
jacket out of
time
your
I'd be
hand?
like doing like a really weird. No, every time I'd like push, this arm I'd be like more normal, but like my right hand, it would be like weird. I don't know. It'd be in a weird position. No, I was gonna say I heard that term before, probably in like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater or something.
I think it was actually Johnny Tsunami.
Or Johnny Tsunami could have been that. Dave Mirra Freestyle BMX 2 or something. I don't know.
No,
one of those.
You don't ride
era.
Goofy in a BMX. That doesn't make you ride backwards.
Yeah.
You face backwards.
You put your
But
feet
it
on
was
the
actually-
handlebars and you pedal with your hands.
Yeah, you pedal with your hands.
It was actually Kalia's dad who mentioned it, because like we went by their house, and he was like, it's funny if you guys don't. He's like an old. He's an old. He's a senior citizen, and he's a white. You know, I don't know what I'm saying. It's just funny hearing him like I never thought of him as like a skateboarder or something like that. And he's like, hey, I used to ride Goofy, which is where you like rode with you push with your front foot. And Isaiah was like, oh yeah, that's what I do. And I was like, okay, so I feel a little less weird, I guess, now it's not just Isaiah doing it. But yeah, he rode the same way as.
I've never heard it called like pushing Goofy. I've always just heard like the way. Well,
No,
the
it's
foot
called
forward.
it's like switch foot. Switch foot is
I dare you
the
to breathe.
opposite foot. Yeah. And then Goofy foot is opposite front back.
Is that where the band gets its name from?
Probably.
I think so, yeah.
If you push with your back foot, your center of gravity is like it's closer to the middle of the board than if you're pushing. If you have your back foot, it's weird.
I could
That
try
makes
it,
sense.
but
Using
I
physics.
I don't know. Like it's considered like the weirder way to do it. I think that's why it's called Goofy foot, but
another thing,
it seemed more normal to me.
you should
Natural, I guess.
You should tighten up your front truck, and also if you start going fast, lean forward. It sounds ridiculous, but get as much weight on the front truck. Otherwise, you're gonna start wobbling, and you'll
never
beef
got
it.
like that fast.
Well, when Isaiah said you were going down, like starting down the hill, I was like, oh shit.
Anyways, I did want to talk about before we get to the movie. I finished Invincible this week, an Amazon animated series, and it's pretty good. It's based on the comic book series by Robert Kirkman, who is probably more well known for The Walking Dead, creating that comic series. Which it's weird because like I liked The Walking Dead comic book series like back in the day, and I never really like loved the show that much, even though I watched it longer than I should have. But like thinking back on The Walking Dead, I wonder, I don't know, I don't like remembering bits from it. I don't think of it as like a great series. I think I kind of was just into it because it came out like when zombie media was like all the thing.
Oh,
all the
yeah.
rave. And then Invincible, I read the first like 6 volumes because Dagan lent it to me, one of my friends, Dagan, because it's like his favorite comic book series ever. And even with Invincible, like I kind of had the same vibe. It was like it's almost like it's sort of like an adult take on like, oh hey, yeah, I lent him to Travis after I was done with them, and he hasn't read them yet.
Nope.
Wait, so those are Dagan's comic
Yeah,
books.
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
he
Dagan
gave to me
Dagan said I
like
could
2
borrow
years
them.
ago.
He just like brought them over one time, and he was like, "You should read these," and I was like, "Sure, I'd love to." And then I,
He left them there.
yeah, I have
Um,
way too many comics to read.
I think maybe it's just because I read. Well, I should say I read. I don't read as much anymore, but like read just a ton of comics, and it was just kind of like another one to me. It was like it was neat. It was like different than like Marvel DC stuff, I guess, but I never thought anything too great of it. And
It was
the
a
show,
7.
I don't even know if it was a 7. It might be a 6. It was like a
Mm.
6 probably.
Sorry, Dagan.
Yeah, sorry, Dagan. Maybe it gets better. You know, it's one that like even though it's a 6, I don't know if I'm interested enough to like read the rest of the series, but like I want to know how it turns out. You know,
What about the
I want
show,
to see where
though?
the story goes. Well, that's what I was getting to.
Excuse me. You said we're supposed to like, chime in more in this part. So I was doing what you said to.
True.
God.
Maybe becoming
okay.
part jacket makes you like super rigid and
I just said.
Yeah,
I just.
a
That's what I was getting to.
Going
I
on a
wasn't,
rigid
some
search
starch.
for
someone needs to iron him
Truth.
out.
I was
Iron
kind
the
of
wrinkles
correcting
out.
myself. That's what I was getting to. Thank you
Oh,
Mitch, for
okay,
reminding me.
okay.
The show, for some reason, it follows the first. It's only like the first volume, I would say, the first graphic novel, which is like 6 issues or something like that. I think that's like roughly the first season, and it follows it pretty closely from what I can remember of the comic. But for some reason, I like the show a lot more.
It's only 4.
I only 4 issues.
Mhm.
Okay, maybe it's the first 2. I don't know if that much happens in 4 issues, but maybe. Yeah, it hits at least all like the major beats are like the same. All the important stuff. I was like, oh yeah, okay, I remember that happens in the show. Yes, that the season finale. I remember like all that. They change like elements about the big events, but I don't know, just overall I think it's like, even though it's telling the same story, it's a lot more entertaining and a lot more like it's presented, especially at first in the first episode, as like almost like it could be like a kid's cartoon. Like it's very like, here's the Justice League, but not the Justice League, our version of the Justice League. Here's our Superman. Here's this teenager who's finding out he has powers and he's becoming a superhero, and it's all very like old school. And then the end of the first episode is there to tell you like this is not a kid show, because people get like decapitated.
Holy shit.
People get like their organs like ripped. It is extremely violent.
Oh.
And I noticed like there is no like cursing in the first episode too. And I was actually wondering, I was like, I feel like there was a little bit more than this. And I was like, are they kind of like toning down the TV show? And then it gets to that final scene in the first episode, and I was like, oh, okay, right, okay, cool. No, not.
This is what I remember.
Yeah, and there's like the season finale is really heavy. It's because there's all this shit the season's been building towards the whole season, like shows tend to do. And just kind of like the emotional fallout of that stuff, the tragedy, I guess, that like happens at the end. It's not the end of, again, this is just the first volume or 2, so it's not the end of the show. I don't know how long they're planning on keeping it going, but it's I don't know, I was getting close to like tearing up, actually. It's very good, and like it also helps that the voice cast is like insane. It has like so many people in it. The main character is Steven Yeun, who was in The Walking Dead, but he's been in other stuff more recently. Okja, Minari.
Yeah.
I've heard
Burning
of that.
a couple years ago. Yeah. And then his dad is J.K. Simmons, and last episode is it's them for like half of it, at least, like pretty much just those two. And they both like fucking kill it. They're so good in that. Like they're good like throughout, but I think that's like where they really kind of like have to pull out this their acting chops, and I think they do a really really good job. But there's also Zachary Quinto's in it, Gillian Jacobs, Jason Mantzoukas, Walton Goggins, Chris Diamantopoulos, John Hamm, Mark Hamill.
Are these all like one-off roles, like, or are they like main-ish characters?
Mark Hamill is like in it throughout the season, but he's not in like every episode.
Right.
He's the guy who like makes their super suits, so he's kind of like the guy that like he's in like the first couple episodes a bit, and then he's in like the last couple episodes, and then maybe he pops up in between mode. To be like, yeah, exactly, he's their Edna mode. So like maybe they'll go back to him at some point in the season. They're like, hey, my suit got fucked up or something like that. Can you? But everyone else is pretty much like a more like major, like I would say Mark Hamill's like the least in it character of all those that I said, because they would even have like people show up for like one episode as like a bad guy, and it's like, oh fuck, that's that person, which that would just be like a one-off, but still it's just cool that they get like a really really good voice cast for it. I think that's all I have to say about it, because I don't want to spoil it necessarily if you don't know the story, because because I would recommend it for sure. And if you, I mean, I even knew where this story was going. Again, I've read all of what the show has done so far, and I still thought it was really great. But I think it's kind of probably be a lot more impactful if you didn't know.
Yeah.
The story going ahead.
That's interesting that like you change the medium of how you like consumed it, and like you liked it more as a show than as like a comic book. I don't know. I think that's interesting.
The only part that I remember being like different enough that it like stuck out to me was the final episode. And again, it's still the big thing, like the important thing, like what the story is actually saying is different, but it's like the little things in between that they change, and that especially I think they improved like vastly in the TV show. But
so like
other than that,
like the story's better.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
like it's the same story beats, but I guess I just like the characters more. I feel like they're more fleshed out. And the thing with the comic is like he was intending to make like a almost satire, like it is a comic book series about a superhero and blah blah blah, but it's almost like I said, like there's the Justice League. It's supposed to be like everybody is like, this is this character that you know from DC, this is this guy from Marvel, and they're very supposed to be like they're filling in like these cookie cutter roles that go into normal comics. But then it's like, ooh, but it's an adult series. But I think maybe the show is able to like do more with those characters, those concepts, than at least what I got out of the comic series.
Do you think it like has more time? Is that the difference?
It could be, yeah.
More space
and I mean, he's
to fill.
Robert Kirkman, I think he's a producer. He might have written like I don't know if he's like a writer on the show. I'm sure he had influence. Maybe it could come with like him, like with time, because that series, the comic book series, is over now, but it started over like 10 years ago. So maybe some of that's him, like, maybe he like is like, hey, maybe we should do this. Maybe he's able to kind of like make alterations himself. Yeah.
The conversation about the same story in a different medium, we should bring this up again later when we talk about Everything's Illuminated, because that was a book first, right? And then they made a movie out of it. Yeah. And so there were some things that I noticed in the movie, like how would I have conveyed this in a book, and would it have been as effective?
I always think that I'm always like, how did they write this scene? Like
Yeah.
But we can talk about that later. I just want to say it so that way one of us probably remembers to say it later.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna list off a few more of the people just because I want to punch like how many like great people there are on the show. Sandra Oh, Zazie Beetz,
from
Zazie
Atlanta.
Beetz. Yeah. Clancy Brown, Ross Marquand, who he's a TV action. I don't know if maybe he's not like super famous, but Mahershala Ali is in it. Seth Rogen, who is also, it's produced by Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg, who have done other shows that I really like too. Lauren Cohan, Jeffrey Donovan, Jonathan Groff, Jimon Hansu, Ezra Miller, Justin Roiland's in it a little bit.
Okay.
Mae Whitman, Reginald Vell Johnson. That's right. Because I think it's just a joke in the comic. I don't think there was any like thought behind it, but the high school that Mark, the main character, goes to is Reginald Vell Johnson High School, and the principal's name is Mr. Wilkins, which is Reginald Vell Johnson's. That's like their name in Family Matters. They're the Wilkins.
Yeah.
And so Reginald Vell Johnson plays the principal, who is essentially supposed to be him. So that's like a kind of inside, not super inside joke, but yeah, I recommend it. It's only 8 episodes too, which is another high praise I can usually give shows is if they're short. It's an easier recommendation. At least for me personally, it's easier for me to get into something if I know it's short.
I kind of have a segue a little bit.
Go. Do it.
Sure. Yeah.
So I was watching. This is a very kind of indirect, but I got home late from work, and I was just exhausted, and I just sat on a couch, and I was like, I don't know what I want to fucking watch. I just want to like space out and like probably pass out in 10 minutes.
And then you remembered you still had to watch the movie.
No. And then I put on the German movie Downfall, which I've seen before, but really heavy.
I really want to see that.
Oh, you've never seen it?
No, I mean I know the meme scene from it, but I've heard it's really good.
That happens in like the first like 20 minutes too, by the way. It's like really early on.
You put on a foreign language film to fall asleep to.
Yeah, with very heavy.
I wouldn't be able to do that because you have to be looking at the subtitles, and then
that's the thing. I didn't fall asleep. I was like, okay, I'm hooked now. I guess I'm not falling asleep. But yeah, it's crazy because the way they do it, I mean, it's not like sympathetic towards Hitler, but it is because it's based on his last secretary's she wrote a book about it. She was she typed up his will and shit right before he killed himself, the day before. So, yeah, it's good. You should watch it. But the whole time I'm just the other thing is I drank a bottle of wine as I'm watching it, and I just got so fucking tilted at Hitler. I was like, fucking, I hate you. I hate Hitler. I fucking hate this dude. And they're all
you heard it here first, folks.
Yeah. Yeah, first Hitler one to call out Hitler.
Is this why it's your segue?
Yeah, that's why it's my segue. But yeah, it's because it's told from the perspective of people who literally loved him. They thought he was essentially God. What did German people say when they saluted each other? They said Hail Hitler. They didn't say Hail Germany, Hail Hitler. Okay. Yeah. They literally I can never say his name right. Goebbels, Joseph Goebbels. He's that guy is fucking. The actor who plays him is terrifying. The guy looks like the Red Skull, but with peach skin.
Is it the guy that plays him in Inglourious Bastards? Because I think that guy's really good.
I don't think maybe. But yeah, that guy, he's crying about Hitler and stuff. I'm just
it's not.
The whole time I'm half in the bag going fuck this dude. Fucking die. Just kill yourself. Get to the part where you kill yourself.
Listen here,
you
Hitler,
fucking
you
pussy. You commit heinous war crimes, killed millions of people, and you're just gonna kill yourself like a pussy. You can't even take your fucking punishment.
Yeah, that's the biggest shit movie ever did was kill himself.
Take your fucking medicine, dude. Just fucking man up.
Honey, you okay in there?
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, Hitler he's such a piece of shit. You don't get it.
Yeah, it's.
I just think about
you'll
Hitler,
definitely
you know,
like
and
it.
I just. God, he's so angry!
I mean, it kind of takes place almost entirely in the bunker too. So like, yeah. But hey, you know what? If you're tired one night, drink a bottle of wine, sit down, watch Downfall, and curse out some Nazis.
I bet that felt good.
It did actually feel very good. And then we watched right after that we finished like the first season of Man in the High Castle, which is about
Oh yeah.
if the Germans and the Axis had won World War II.
Yeah. Did you bring
So-
this up last week, or was that someone else?
No, I mentioned that we were watching it like a couple weeks ago,
Oh,
but
okay.
we watched this like immediately after I finished that. So it's full of Nazis like like being dicks still, and I was just like, this dude needs to fucking die. He needs to die. There's a car coming. Hit him. Just like cheering
my
for
God.
like shit. It's a blast. But yeah, fuck Hitler.
Okay, and now where's the segue?
World War II, Nazis,
Oh, okay, all right. Where you
Okay.
said
genocide.
I'm gonna throw a wrench in the segue and say that reminds talking about alternate history thing. I saw a commercial for a fucking TV show, and the premise is that it's an alternate history where Africa colonizes Europe.
Mm-hmm.
Have y'all seen an ad for
No,
that? And then it's like,
That sounds dope.
and so it's like it's like the same sort of like racial tensions, but flipped.
Reversed.
Yeah,
Oh,
what
is this
fucking-
on like
what show is
Hallmark
that?
Channel, written by Stephen Miller or some shit? Trying to
No,
promote,
no, it
like,
seemed pretty
reverse
cool.
Racism.
Of like the Steve Miller band.
No,
Africa.
he was in Trump's administration.
colonize.
Hey,
It's called Peacock. No, wait, no, Peacock is the name of the streaming service. God damn
Okay,
it.
I was gonna
Knots
say.
and crosses.
Knots and crosses.
I loved you
have
on
heard of
IMDb.
That show.
It's called Google.
Let me look it up on the Wikipedia. By Knots and Crosses, by the TV show Knots and Crosses, did you just mean the game Tic-Tac-Toe? Because that's what it took me to.
Oh, that's probably. It probably is.
No, it is.
Yeah,
that's what they call. That's
yeah.
they call it in the UK. I don't know what that
You know
was. That
what's-
was Roger Cunningham.
It's funny because I was re-listening to the Oh Hello podcast, and with John Mulaney and Nick Kroll, and they have John Oliver on, and they're just like talking to him. The whole premise is that they're investigating Princess Diana's death, and they're like, oh, we should mention, by the way, that John Oliver still speaks with a British accent, which there's no excuse for because he's heard how we talk. So that's what I think of when I hear Knots and Crosses. It's like, no, it's called Tic-Tac-Toe. Like, you know what it's called.
yeah.
Stop calling this stupid shit.
They call sprinkles hundreds and thousands.
That's actually sick. I like that
For
a lot.
like as a
I
topping.
like that a lot.
Yeah.
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 I like that a lot. Shit.
That's pretty dope.
Okay, all right.
I want some hundreds and thousands dressing.
Yeah.
Holy
wait, is
shit.
it still called the UK though?
I don't fuck. Whatever.
Yeah,
Who
United
cares?
Kingdom of Great Britain
but-
and Northern Ireland.
Oh, okay.
Oh, there you go.
Of two.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And
Partially United Kingdom. We'll call it
speaking of Americans and Europeans,
and Nazis.
There we
everything
go.
is illuminated.
We did it.
Yes.
We got there.
There we
did
go.
it. The best.
Good teamwork,
and
everyone.
skateboards and superheroes. It's
Yeah.
all tied in.
Uh,
Just think about it for a little bit. You'll figure it out.
We watched Everything Is Illuminated this week. It's from 2005, directed by Liev Schreiber. It tells the story, I'll say somewhat autobiographical, and I'll get back to that later, but somewhat autobiographical tale of Jonathan Safran Foer, a Jewish American. Jonathan, yeah, Jonathan S. Foer, a Jewish American who travels to Ukraine to learn about his grandfather, who lived in this village there. He doesn't know much about him. He's a very avid collector of family heirlooms and the like, and he's one of the people who he doesn't really have much information or anything on him really. So he decides to travel back to his hometown, where he lived around the time of World War II, and he travels over there to try to learn more about him and a little bit more about his family history. And it's about his traveling there with his travel guide. His travel guide's somewhat blind grandpa, and they're seeing eye bitch.
Efficient seeing eye bitch.
Efficient, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the premise. Who wants to start us off?
Can I go first? Because I
Sure.
was fucking confused by this movie. It didn't
Okay.
make sense to me. Everything may
Okay.
be illuminated, but it wasn't to me. So before we fucking start, can we just kind of clear up some what fucking happened at the movie? Because I was so confused at the end. I don't know. Maybe I was just in a weird
Sure.
mood when I was watching it. So okay, so he goes. So Elijah Wood goes to the Ukraine, and then there's Alex, who's the translator, and then
the translator.
yeah, and then the grandpa is the driver, and and they just drive around the countryside until they find the village, and
Correct.
and the family of the tour guide is really anti-Semitic, but they run this business
Heritage.
Yeah, where Jewish people, American Jews come and do what Elijah Wood's doing, and
Yeah.
and there's flashbacks throughout, and we're supposed to believe that maybe Grandpa was a Nazi, and then turns out actually he was a Jew, and then okay, and then
So far you got it.
okay, so they get to the place, and the grandpa's late first wife's sister is there, and she also collects shit.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, and apparently the whole town was massacred, except for her somehow.
I think there was other people that lived.
Yeah.
She's just the last one alive.
Yeah.
Because it's been a long time, and I don't think she was the
Okay.
only person to survive.
And then the
but
town
it's
was
been long
destroyed.
enough, and
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And she didn't have much contact with the outside world because she still thought World War II was happening.
Yeah.
yeah,
And then
you're doing great so far.
Okay.
She was afraid of cars.
so
Yeah.
so
The Pixar
on the way to Troshenbroschen, or whatever the name of the town is,
Nailed it.
Russian world.
they found this ruins of a building or whatever, and that's the place where Grandpa was shot by a Nazi firing squad, and survived. And then he's like,
I guess so.
I don't know if that's where he was actually shot or if that was where the town was. I couldn't.
Yeah, one of the other.
I don't know if
Well, 'cause-
where the plaque was, if that's where they were buried or
no,
if that's
not where the
they
plaque
were shot.
was. The plaque
No,
is
no,
where
I
the town
know.
was. I'm talking about the yeah, the plaque was where the town was because they said it was by the river, and the plaque is by the river.
Yeah, that's where I was thinking they either got shot or that's where they got buried, and then the
Right.
other location was the town because it had buildings and shit, foundations.
No, because she said there's nothing left of the town.
Well,
I think
mean,
Grandpa
not
wasn't from
exactly.
Troshenbrod, because otherwise the lady would have recognized him.
she did.
She did.
She told
Did she?
him about. She showed him that picture.
That
she was,
was
like, "This
him.
is." Yeah.
His name was
It even
Baruch
said
or
at-
He was
something?
Baruch.
Yeah.
Baruch.
Yeah, and it even
Yeah.
said at the end on his tombstone, it said
Alex Baruch.
Grandpa Baruch. Yeah.
It said
yeah.
It was
Baruch on the
Alex.
tombstone. So
Yeah,
it was
it
his
middle
was
name.
him.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Oh my god! This whole time I thought he was just like some other random Jew who happened to be close by, and then the girl
Say
like
the whole word next
stole. I just recently rewatched that episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, where the Jewish guy buys the
I've
building.
been thinking that this whole time.
Oh my god! You gotta use it in the right context.
Yeah.
Holy shit! Oh man. Okay, I thought that it's some random Jew. He was another Jewish guy. Okay, that makes so much sense because I was like, okay, that clears it up. That was the last thing. That's what I needed. Oh my god! I wish I fucking understood that. Because
Did you have subtitles on? That was kind of an important part there, probably.
I did.
I didn't.
Okay.
I did. Well, okay, and so that's another thing that was really frustrating. Segue. The way that Amazon Prime was doing the subtitles,
Crosses.
it would be like they were speaking in Russian, and so it's like they would have the subtitles for English in white, but then it would have the like black little caption thing saying they're speaking in Russian. And I'm like, God damn it, I know they're speaking in Russian. Show me the fucking English subtitles. And then the dog starts barking, and it says dog barking. But I'm like, it's over. You can't read what they're saying. And so I had to like switch between turning subtitles on and off. That's just the way that I watched it on a Roku, and that's just the way it was, and it was so fucking frustrating.
I was gonna say maybe there's a difference between.
You can't understand Alex's fucking accent, and also he uses the weirdest fucking words to say things.
Yeah.
Like
I was gonna say maybe it's a difference between like closed captioning and subtitles, but yeah, it could be
maybe.
Roku.
I don't know. I couldn't figure it out. I was just frustrated.
I
but
thought,
I just got
like,
used
Get
to
the
it.
bit. I'm wearing a tracksuit like Alex because he's Ukraine. I'm sweating balls. So I'm taking it off now. But
I just want to point out, if you guys didn't get that, I'm wearing purple because of the song in the credits. Start wearing purple. That's what I was doing.
That dude's in a band. The Gogol Bordello.
Yeah, that was. That Alex is the singer for.
Yeah.
I'm wearing
Gogol
green
Bordello.
because of the fertile fields of Ukraine.
There you go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
And
I'm wearing maroon because
Of Maroon 5. That's a callback.
Oh
To
yeah!
something.
Holy shit!
Oh my god.
Yeah, no, it's because the people who were wearing purple were murdered by Nazis, and then they started bleeding, and then it mixed and got. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So the grandpa was Baruch.
Baruch. Yep.
Okay. So when he had Alex and Elijah Wood leave the house, they were talking about like they were catching up because
Presumably.
they knew each other.
Probably.
Oh
Yeah.
my god. Oh my god. And so then
maybe.
she watched him like leave his Jewishness behind. Oh my god.
yeah, I'm not 100% sure on that because they saved the whole revelation of like him being shot and then getting up and her looking at him until like they leave. So I'm almost wondering if there was like this non-verbal communication of like, oh, that was me. So maybe they were. Maybe he was just convincing her. I don't know. They
but like
said that.
if he was from the same town, then she would have known him.
Yeah,
Probably.
roundabout. She kind of knew him. She obviously knew about him.
She at the very least
She had a picture
recognized
of
him as the person who she knew his name.
Yeah.
She wouldn't have just like randomly picked this picture of like, hey, let me tell you about this guy in the town.
See,
Like,
okay, so you
so
think that-
weird because at first I was like, oh, is that going to be him? Is that the reveal? And then it's actually some dude named Baruch who can't read. And I was like, okay, this is weird. I thought it was going to be the grandpa. I thought it was going to be the big
Well, the guy
reveal.
like had a mustache like him, right? I mean, I guess that's.
yeah.
He
God
looked
damn it.
different
guess
in the
didn't pick
picture
up on
from the guy who got shot, I thought.
He looks a little different.
He looked older or something.
The guy in the flashback I thought looked like Will Forte too much, so I said that he like MacGrubered his way out of the
Oh my god.
out of getting shot.
Okay, continuity issue, not continuity,
Okay.
but like historical
I actually have
accuracy
notes for
issue.
this. Yes.
isn't like literacy a big deal in Jewish culture back then? Like the rabbi teaches you
Maybe.
how to fucking like read the Torah and shit, and he can't. And
Yeah,
this guy can't read.
Well,
that's Hebrew, not
he might
English.
be able to read Hebrew.
Oh,
Yeah.
but he can't read the Russian books that he
Like
checked out.
German or Russian or yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe. I can live with that.
Yeah, you are correct there. Yeah, but yeah, Hebrew. It's different.
Nice
It
try.
looks different.
Try again.
No
Try
way,
to
he was
drag
a
this
different
movie
language
down.
from Ukrainian. Holy shit.
Oh, okay. I saw your pen. I remembered that I actually took notes. My first note was more great handwriting carrying over from All the President's Men last week. I really liked Alex's handwriting because he did all, like the chapters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very like blocky, but I don't know. I like that sometimes when I thought
Yeah,
it was
it's better than mine. I definitely noticed that. I was like, man, it would be nice to have legible handwriting.
yeah.
My first
right,
note
yeah.
was, did he write himself into this movie? I didn't realize it was like I feel like I knew that it was like somewhat autobiographical, but then like they said like Jonathan Safran Foer, I was like, oh, so he is the main character of this film. And do you guys know about Jonathan Safran Foer?
Just from
He
this,
wears
and I know that he
thick-ass
wrote
eyeglasses.
I know that he wrote
The
that
animal.
other book.
The,
No.
Everything,
the animals.
incredibly loud, extremely loud, incredibly
He
close.
collects a lot of
That
weird
one.
shit.
Yeah.
he's a
Did you
fucking
know
creep.
that he tried to he left his wife for Natalie Portman and it was not reciprocated back to him?
Yikes.
Well, that's Natalie
He-
fucking Portman, dude.
So he published like an art. I think it was in the lead up to one of her projects, but he like published their emails in the New York Times, like their correspondence, because it was, I don't know if it was like some sort of art piece or what, but like to show how like intellectual and like cool and smart she is. But people basically like read between the lines and like it timed up with him and his wife's divorce. And basically people think that he tried to like, he basically convinced himself that him and Natalie Portman were like going to fall in love and get married. And then she was just like, I'm not leaving my husband for you. Like totally unreciprocated.
I like to think he saw Attack of the Clones and thought that he could be as like foot and mouth stupid ass as Anakin is in that movie and still win her over.
So that's like one of the only things I know about this dude is that he tried to like literally tried to slide into the
from a
DMs.
riverbank in Ukraine, the site of the massacre. It's coarse
so
and
he
it's rough.
he
and
slid
it
into
gets me
Natalie
down.
Portman's DMs and
Yeah.
struck out.
Well, she's from. Oh no, she's Israeli, right? I think she's
Yeah.
from Israel. I was gonna say
Is she?
she's from. Yeah. So maybe there's something. I don't know. He got fucked up by this trip to Europe or something. Really. I mean, on the one hand, it's not like he's obviously like neurotic and weird and like
yeah.
I don't think his obsessive collecting of things is supposed to be seen as like a cool guy thing. Like he's
Yeah, well,
definitely strange.
I feel like it kind of is supposed maybe for its time for 2005 that sort of like
quirky.
eccentric weird guy quirkiness that is like supposed
Manic-
to be seen as like
Manic
say it.
Pixie Dream Boy.
yeah exactly yeah.
I did think this had a lot of like
They could have put Michael Cera in that role.
yeah it definitely helps that like you need someone like Elijah Wood though, at least for me, because like I like Elijah Wood.
Yeah,
he's just
yeah,
one
no,
of those
he's
actors
good.
that I like seeing stuff. He's so good. Even though another one of my first notes was that like early on when he's in the cemetery, he looked like when
Yeah,
he's just like
true.
standing there, he reminds me too much of his character from Sin City, Kevin.
Yep.
If you guys have seen that movie,
That's
Those
exactly
glasses-
he
what
looks
I
like
thought.
him, but with the glasses, he's got like halfway to Gollum eyes, like in Return of the King when Smeagol's like turning into Gollum and his eyes, he like closes his eyes and then opens them and he's got like the
Yeah.
big Gollum eyes. So yeah, even though he was weird in this, I still really like Elijah Wood.
Oh yeah.
My first note.
But
oh, sorry. Were you?
my bigger point there was that like about following off of, like the Manic Pixie Dream Boy thing, that like it it bleeds like indie movie from mid 2000s. Like it really feels like that. I said that it felt like a weird mix of Wes Anderson and I'll say pre-Hannibal Brian Fuller. Brian Fuller, who did Pushing Daisies, is like the closest one to this I could think. Which, no shade on that. I fucking love Pushing Daisies. I like all of his shows pretty much, but he did that, Wonder Falls and Dead Like Me, very like quirky but kind of dark dramedy shows. Had a lot of like, I don't know, it just really gave off like that. I could like it brought to mind so many other like unrelated indie movies from the time, only brought to mind because like they kind of feel the same, even though not even the same writer, director, cast or anything, but they all kind of had a vibe. What you're gonna say?
My only note was that, not only note, my first note was there was two dogs that played the dog. One of them's, their name was Mickey and the other one was Mouse. So there's that.
I saw that too. Yeah.
That's adorable.
And another, I meant to mention this when we brought up Go-Go Bordello. I only noticed this in the credits when it credited them with playing, was it God Bless America? That band on the train platform, that's the band Go-Go Bordello, who Alex in real life is the lead singer for. So I just thought, like, man, if I was a Go-Go Bordello fan, like, this would be a fucking awesome movie. I like Alex, but like other than hearing Start Wearing Purple at the end and being like, oh yeah, okay, I remember that song. I'm not like that familiar with them, you know.
Apparently there was a Devotchka song that I think that there was a Devotchka song that was used in the trailer but wasn't used in the actual film. I'm more familiar with Devotchka, but very similar, like tuba, accordion, like kind of
I
band
think
like that.
I don't know if this is like, I don't know. I'm gonna look up just to make sure this is. I'm pretty sure it's what they call their own genre. I don't know if this is if this is not PC or whatever.
Oh, I know what you're gonna say.
Gypsy punk.
Yeah,
that's what they are. That's what they call themselves. Okay.
But you can't say it. It's their word.
Yeah,
you can't.
I
say
have
it.
European ancestors. I've done
context.
ancestry. I'm like 4% Eastern European and other areas or whatever.
Okay, wow, you just dug a bigger hole for yourself. Right
Yeah.
It's
Wait,
not
what?
the same thing.
Yeah.
Episode 2, the gang gets
The
canceled.
Gypsies were persecuted. The Romani people were persecuted by the Europeans.
Man, well, we had a good
Well,
run, guys.
Ukraine is still East Europe. Whatever. I was joking. I was joking anyways. Okay.
No.
No, I think they like.
I can say the
immigrated,
G.
like they like
because-
migrated from India. They're like a totally separate like ethnic group from the rest of Europe.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
kidding. That's exactly what Kevin Spacey said
Well,
too.
They're Ukrainian. They're Ukrainian, so I don't know
And
what
then
that means
they
either.
use that word. Damn.
That's what they.
Well, it's like-
that's
it's
what
their
they,
thing to
that's what they
reclaim.
like. Yeah. I
Yeah,
don't
TJ,
know.
you might have
Whatever.
to just
I
stop
didn't mean to
talking
get
for a
into
little
this. I was
bit.
just making a joke.
Oh
I
my
didn't really
God.
have a defense or anything. But yeah, so that band's in this.
Oh my God, dude.
Of a certain genre of music.
My next note is tracksuits rule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The introduction of Alex, I was surprised at how much I laughed at this movie, at how funny it was.
Yeah.
Like legitimate like laughs, like I don't know. Everything about Alex is like very, very funny. His like not understanding, his like dated understanding of American culture, like
Yeah.
how he refers to African Americans is a little troubling, but that's because
Are there homosexual
like-
accountants?
are there homosexual?
Yeah,
but, you know,
that's right.
Shaquille O'Neal is he Jew? Like
The Los Angeles Laker.
Yeah.
the Los Angeles Laker.
Hopefully
Yeah.
this doesn't ruin it for you guys, but he's kind of like a discount Borat.
Oh my God.
I had the same
when he
feeling.
was narrating at the beginning, I was like, did this come out before Borat or not?
Yeah.
And then like he did chapter 1, like beginning of prodigious journey to
Yeah.
I was like, that's like a Borat subtitle.
Overture for the commencement of a very
Illumination.
rigid search.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But well, okay. The Ali G show, which is where Borat was first from, came out before this, but the movie came out after. I don't know. The guy is actually, I listened to that guy outside. It's kind of an exaggerated accent, but that is his accent. It's definitely like, I think he speaks more clearly.
Yeah, that's not how
Yeah,
He doesn't use weird,
in real
weird-ass
life.
words to describe them.
Yeah, he has a right. He's more worldly, I guess, than Alex from Odessa.
Yeah, he knows not to use like prodigious and whatever.
Right. Yeah. He was pretty good. I was a little worried at first. I ended up coming to like him, but I thought at the opening ish was maybe the weakest part of the movie for me, because I was like, I don't know. At first, he came off as really annoying for the first like couple scenes, but then you start to like. I was kind of like, well, I gotta spend the movie with this guy, so.
Yeah.
But it was mostly
I'll give
just
him a
like his
chance.
intro scene where he's like, "Ooh, I'm a good dancer," blah blah blah. I'm like,
That was stupid as fuck. I loved it.
But yeah, I did end up.
Okay,
coming
let's
to
see your
like him.
penis.
And I also thought, the grandpa did a really good job. Like at the ending when he's kind of dealing with all that shit, I was like, wow, that yeah. I looked up to see if he was like, I was like, is he like a known actor over there, or was this? I don't think he'd like been in much, or maybe because it's Ukraine, just America doesn't have, American Google doesn't have as much information on people, but I didn't see too much. But yeah, I thought he did a really good job. I mean, most of all three of them were good, in their own way, but yeah. I can keep going, but I thought I'd talk for a little bit. So
I was kind of, when I first started watching it, I don't know. I guess I don't know exactly what I expected, but like once it started, it was completely different than what I expected.
Yeah.
In
same.
like a good way.
Yeah, I'd seen this before. I've seen it once before a couple years ago, but I had the same like thinking back then. I like something about a dude, like a Jewish dude in World War II, and that not at all what I was expecting originally.
Yeah.
I think based on the movie poster, like you can see it, it's on my stream right now, but it's like with like the sunflowers, and he's got like the glasses on.
Yeah.
I think I thought that it was going to be way more heavy on the quirky romantic comedy end, I guess, because of like
maybe.
because of like the name, because I feel like that's like Everything Is Illuminated is like one of those indie movie phrase names, like The Perks of Being a Wallflower, Everything Is Illuminated, like sort of like these like semi Panic at the Disco ass like movie names that are like sentences.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was definitely going into it expecting it to be much more of a like
What's
not
that
necessarily a
Jim Carrey
rom-com,
one?
but like some sort of like really quirky indie movie, which it had a little bit of that with Elijah Wood's character just being like a neurotic weirdo who puts dirt in bags, but like
Yeah.
it was not as bad, or as like, because like you watch Garden State, or like I guess Juno too, but like movies of that time. I don't know. I feel like it's like post like Arrested Development. I don't know if Arrested Development
Royal
necessarily.
Tenenbaums.
Royal Tenenbaums. Yes. Arrested Development and Royal Tenenbaums, I think, are the two biggest factors in that awkward comedic style, as well as like sort of like self-referential, ironic, like doing like the gym stare,
Yeah.
But yeah.
Eternal
wasn't
sunshine
surprised.
of the spotless mind. That's the other sentence one that I was thinking about.
Ooh, yeah, I can't believe I didn't think of that one.
I was gonna say
Yeah.
that I was gonna mention Garden State, that like it almost seemed like a desperate attempt to impress Natalie Portman from Garden State. He's like,
Oh my
you're a
God.
manic pixie dream girl? Well, I'm a manic pixie dream boy.
He's there's like a scene where he's like wearing his headphones, and she's like, "What are you listening to?" And he's like, "Gogo Bordello." It's
Yeah.
this cool band." It's like-
That'd be great. Yeah, like splice that scene from Garden State, puts the headphones on. It's like,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, talking about how it was like not what you expected. Like, I like y'all told me that Elijah Wood's character was a collector, that not a fucking kleptomaniac, just fucking stealing his grandmother's
Yeah.
dentures. Holy
Yeah.
shit, that's
Yeah.
fucked up. She needs those.
No, she died, didn't she? I thought she
No,
died.
she dies.
And
Yeah,
then
she
she
lives
died.
anymore.
Yeah.
No, because no, it was the grandpa who died.
I thought that was
What
like,
the person when they put
implication.
the
Yeah,
sheet
yeah.
over someone's head, that was the grandpa. It was a flashback to when the grandpa
Yeah.
died.
I thought it was the implication was that she had just died too. But
So when
I
he
think-
gets
I think
when
it
he
was.
gets to Ukraine, he or like at one point he's having a conversation with Alex, and he says if if my grandmother finds out that I'm in the Ukraine, she'll freak, as if she was still alive.
I don't
Like I remember like
That's true.
thinking
but
about the way that he said it as like this isn't a live person he's talking about. He's gonna go back home and see his grandma and keep a secret from her where he is.
maybe.
This coming from the guy who didn't know what happened in the movie, supposedly.
Did it?
Okay.
I thought that was like past
Okay.
tense. Like if she knew that I was in the Ukraine, like
Yeah.
she's dead. But I think he meant like
See-
I think he meant it more of like her culture. She would have been like mad
it's
or
not-
surprised or whatever.
but it wasn't it grammatically, because I remember thinking at the moment, like, grammatically it's not if she would have known then she would have done this. It's like,
to me, I think you could
no,
still
if-
say it.
if you tell her if she finds out future tense, then
Regardless,
I will.
I mean, she could still be alive. You could be right, and we could be wrong, or vice versa. I have no idea. I completely missed that part. I might have been taking a leak or something. But regardless, stealing your grandma's fucking dentures is creepy as shit,
Yeah.
like you said.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
Alive or dead. It's actually almost worse if she's dead. It's like,
Yeah.
what?
Because then they gotta find new dentures for her, like, funeral or whatever.
Exactly.
It's just-
Well,
Yeah,
um,
remember-
They
there's-
probably just fill it with caulk or something. Like,
I've never been to a funeral, and like an open casket funeral, and had the dead body just being like. That would be
good point.
weird.
no,
That would be
Good point.
weird.
yes, but you can tell
You
if
don't
they
see the
don't.
teeth.
yeah, their
they don't-
teeth, their lips would be
Whether they're-
sunken in.
No, they just
Yeah,
put some
that's what-
cardboard in there.
I
Give it
wasn't
a
expecting,
definition.
her to
You gotta-
be like propped up, like.
Just do what they do, like when you buy a new pair of tennis shoes. Just get a wad of like paper, and just shove it in there, and then
Holy shit.
Yeah.
It's the same.
Okay, maybe
shit.
she died. I don't fucking know.
I,
But yeah, so like,
because I thought they showed, because his grandpa died years ago. His grandpa died in
Yes.
'83,
yes,
and I thought that it was like his grandma died, and then he was like, "Oh well, now I don't have any." Like, she was the only way I was gonna get like information about my
information,
grandpa,
yeah.
so I guess I
Oh.
gotta do it myself.
that
Yeah.
actually makes a ton of sense now that you say
Yeah,
it. But I
I'll
remember, but like
probably-
she, like they were. It was like when he's like, "Hey, grandma,
Elia
who was
would know.
Augustine?" And then the camera zooms in on her, and she's very obviously breathing. It's
breathing.
Like,
yes,
it's like
yes,
they
I noticed
wanted
that
us
too.
to know she was still alive, because she was like,
Yeah.
she was breathing like a lot.
That part
You know, not even
confused me
trying
because
to
I
look
was
dead.
like, she was like breathing, and then it was like she died, and I was like, wait a minute, was she breathing or not? So yeah, I don't know. It's up in the air whether she's alive or not. I'll probably rewatch that part later.
Yeah,
See if I can figure it out.
Um,
Yeah.
Did the grandma die in what the fuck is the name of this movie? Everything.
Everything is the spotless mind.
Everything.
Yeah.
Everything is a very rigid search.
Yeah, I guess I like movies like this. I don't know if it was shot on location, like or where it was shot,
Sure
but like
seemed like it was.
It
That's-
did, yeah, it seemed like it. Yeah.
I do really
Dude.
like movies like that where they really show off like other countries like this, because like, I mean, I shouldn't say especially, but like for countries like Ukraine, I think there's maybe like a certain picture you might have in your head of that area, and they just like, you don't see any of that. It's just like gorgeous, like it looks
Yeah.
way better than around here.
You think like Soviet era? Well, I guess they kind of did show like
They did show it.
like the Soviet hotels
tanks and
or like
shit.
the
That was
giant
so
apartment
fucking
complexes.
badass. They drive by that like blown up building and they're like, "What's
Yeah.
that? Soviet? What happened? Independence." I'm like, all right, nice, dude. Like every other time, he's like uses weird like adjectives and stuff, but this is the only time he's just like very simply just like independent.
Since we're talking about location, can we talk about how fucking amazing the sunflower field was?
Yeah,
Oh,
I had that one specifically.
I
Like I
want to
there was a
live
lot
there.
of neat. There was a lot of neat like shot composition and stuff, but yeah, that sunflower field was fucking rad.
Although
Like
there is
that.
a little
I'm
bit
gonna
of
think about that when I fall asleep tonight.
continuity. There was a little bit of continuity when they pull up and he's like, "Go down there and ask," and he's pointing straight out the window, and then Alex is walking down the path and the car's not behind him. I was kind of like, okay.
I thought you just couldn't see the.
Yeah,
No,
it
you
wasn't
can
a
see
frame.
the road. You can see
Yeah, I just
you
thought
can
it
see the
was-
road.
Dude,
Okay.
if we're talking about continuity issues, there's one that fucking broke me because
Oh no.
they wanted so like when they're walking to the river, or when she's walking and they're following in the car,
And the
The-
dog's
and-
on the hood.
that's fucking hilarious. And
yeah.
we're supposed to tell us like, oh, it's getting later. It's taking a
Oh.
long time to get there. And they look at the moon, zoom in at the fucking moon, and it is in the waning gibbous phase. Okay, and then
Yep.
next scene, full moon, high in the sky, weeks later. Because that's how the moon fucking works. And I'm like, did it take them weeks to get to this riverbank? Because the phase of the moon has changed from waning gibbous to full?
Yeah.
So I thought that was more of like the grandfather, because the moon and the grandfather are like connected, because I think that's the way the moon looked. Like, I don't know if it was like on the day that he got shot or whatever, but I know that every time they showed the moon, they would show the grandfather's eyes, like kind of like he was
That's
reminiscing.
interesting.
So I read that as that's like the grandfather recalling and like being transported back to this time in his life. That was my interpretation of that, because I think it happened during what's that?
I use something else then, because that's not how the moon works.
Yeah.
That's art, baby. That's art. I don't know.
The same
It's
night,
art.
but it's a completely different phase of the moon. That's so so important.
I literally
the
said that out loud.
Jewish
I was like, that's not how the moon works.
Civilization has a lunar calendar. You know, like holy shit.
Yeah.
What did you just say, Travis? Like you said out loud in the.
That's what I said that out loud to Kelly. I turned. I was like, that's not how the moon works.
That's not how the moon fucking works. I'm glad I'm not the only one who noticed
movie
that.
magic to me.
Movie
Movie
magic.
magic to me.
For a minute, I straight up was like, did it take them weeks to get to the river?
Oh, this is where Christopher Nolan got it for Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah.
They go into
All time shifty.
the tunnel,
Yeah.
and then it's just like, it's dark now. I don't know.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that's the thing. Yeah, no, they were doing a Dunkirk on us. Like they didn't do the old lady was traveling, and it was like, how does Dunkirk do it? Like it was like 4 hours, and then the car was like 30 minutes or something like that.
Oh.
And then the dog left, and then got back on the car, and it was like a month or something like that.
Yeah. Interstellar.
Yeah, because I know that there's like a scene where like you can see the moon in the daylight,
Yeah.
and like the
A few
grandfather's
times, yeah.
driving, and like he sees it, and it seems like it's like affecting him in some way. So I just thought that was supposed to be like, he's
I like that
remembering.
interpretation.
You're
He's
probably
remembering
right.
this night where it happened.
You're probably
and then 30
right.
minutes later, the moon is in a different phase.
No, but I mean, do you get what he's saying? Like he's sure, but like what
It's
he's
not-
seeing is
it's not real.
the present moon.
The grandfather's
the
like
real moon.
recalling.
Oh, it's a fake moon.
Oh.
He's saying like he's seeing the moon from the past. Like that's the
He's seeing
beginning of his flashback or whatever.
That day's moon. But the very
Oh,
next
so it's an
shot is a full moon that night.
It's an alternate reality where the moon is super
So
I
that could be the real moon that's happening
But the moon is
in
super
real time.
fast.
Everything else is the same, but the moon goes really fast.
I thought it was all in the grandfather's head.
It's
head.
possible.
interesting.
I guess I didn't really think about it beyond. That's not how the moon works. I didn't
I'm
really
gonna-
sort of tied into
Yeah.
anything else.
I'll be straight up. I didn't notice the moon phase difference. I also didn't notice I didn't notice any of this shit. I didn't notice the connection with the grandfather either. So I'm just kind of like
TJ
I'm just kind of like watching
have a
all
dog
this
in
from the
this fight.
outside. I totally missed all of this.
You don't
but
have
I'm
a
just saying
seeing eye
like I
bitch in this fight.
get what Nick is saying, and usually no matter how much no matter how I feel about a movie, I usually like to try to give like the creators benefit of the doubt. So I like Nick's interpretation, being
I do too.
that I don't remember any of this exactly specifically. I don't remember like how the shots were, the order of
Yeah.
the shots.
TJ's
like-
concussed from his skateboard ride, so he's like.
I never hit my head.
Well, so,
Well,
I mean,
you
literally,
sure?
the only reason I thought that was because it does show it earlier in a different
It does.
scene
You're
where
right.
he sees that phase of the moon. That's literally the only reason I'm coming to that
Yeah,
That's
conclusion,
actually a
because
really
it
good point.
alludes to it earlier.
It's literal. Like you'd either have to be the dumbest person in the world. Well, I shouldn't say dumbest person in the world, but like in that what he was talking about, it literally fades from like one moon to a different moon. So unless you think like the moon is like this, I don't know, like yeah, like as it gets darker, it comes out. I don't know, like or it's
Yeah,
intentional
yeah,
that they show
because-
the transition. It
It would
it
have
has
to
to
be
be
If it's like
intentional.
that, then it has to be intentional.
Or you're
if
an
it was
idiot.
like that.
Well, if they're
I
just
mean, I
'cause
am,
it's
but I
supposed to
didn't
be
direct the movie.
nighttime, I think they want to establish that it's nighttime. And
Yeah.
so now it's like it's late. So like this, it was sunset. Now that you can see the moon was just rising. Or,
Yeah. I think they
or
just did it in a
actually setting.
confusing way.
And yeah,
I
it
am
was just
Confucian.
rising, and then what? So and then it goes, and then it's like okay, now it's nighttime. Well, they could have used the same phase of the moon. The same phase of the moon is also out at nighttime. You know.
well,
maybe-
with
But
in
if it
Nick's-
is for the flashback thing, maybe they
Yeah.
wanted to make it clear that it wasn't.
they should have had.
I think this is the thing. This is why Moose completely missed that the grandpa was the guy in the photograph, because he was too focused in on the phases of the moon.
He just
He's
got
like, wait,
super-
what is that? He's
What
like
the
looking
fuck?
up, waning, give us how long until full moon?
So my thing
my God.
is
Actually,
drinking a bottle of wine and watching Downfall.
Yikes.
Moose is just like watching different phases of the moon and
Holy shit.
just getting
He's
pissed
watching the
that way.
Stargazer, that guy jumping around
Yeah.
from planet to planet.
He watches
So-
Cosmos and just bitches about Neil deGrasse Tyson.
So, oh my God, who doesn't? So the yeah, I guess that's one thing about like I am like so on board with suspension of disbelief. Like like that's I'm ready, you know. Take me there. Like I recently watched Pirates of
But
the
now when it comes
Caribbean
to
at
the
World's
moon.
End. You know,
Uh-huh.
the one where they have the big like pirate war or whatever. And
yeah.
you know, Davy Jones is dead. He fell into the fucking like maelstrom or
Col-
whatever. and then and now Orlando Bloom is the new Davy Jones, and the Flying Dutchman sinks into the ground, and
Water.
Jack Sparrow grabs Keira Knightley and like chops up like a rope, and then they fly off, and like one of the sails is like a parachute now, and they're just like kind of like floating around like fucking up, and they just like land in the ocean.
That part,
and it's weird as fuck. It's like, excuse me.
I think I get what you're.
Actually,
the sail. That's not how air works.
But it's funny because that ties into the moon thing, because it was a tidal thing. The moon was changing and the tides changed.
I thought you were gonna bring up something with like because the Flying Dutchman like goes down when it's like sunset or whatever. Or no, that's how they get out of Davy Jones' life.
Yeah,
I thought that's where this was going. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
No, this is like when they're doing the maelstrom, and then like there's a Black Pearl here, and then there's the Flying Dutchman here, and then they're spinning around each other, and they're like fighting, and they're swinging back and forth, and then the last thing that happens, after like Davy Jones dies, the water is starting to calm down, and then the all of the dudes like go to like chop out Orlando Bloom's heart, and then Keira Knightley's like, no, and then that's when Jack Sparrow's like, no, let's go, we got to go to Black Pearl now, and then they use the parachute thing. Well, anyway, the point is that's not how air works. But I was like, you know what? I'm gonna forgive them for this.
Yeah.
Because there's literally pirate magic in this movie, and I'm okay with that.
I've only seen the first 3 of those movies, so everything that you just said sounds like
that's
like
the third one.
This is the third movie. It's the third one.
I don't
when
know.
Davy Jones.
I do like that one too.
But it sounds like a little kid like this, and then Jack Sparrow he finds the pearl, and then Orlando Bloom. That's not about you. That's not a call on you. That's a call on like how ridiculous like those movies get in terms of like their own lore and just like how that. Yeah. But like having like not seen that movie in like a decade, like I might have seen the third one, but like I saw it when it came out in like 2006.
So fucking funny.
So like I don't remember. So I'm just like enraptured by this story because like I'm like, and then what happened?
And so there's pirate magic. They unbind a sea goddess and release her and her body disintegrates into crabs after becoming a giant and almost sinking a boat. Like they literally went to hell.
And after the entire British Navy gets wiped out by by the undead seafarers.
Yeah, I hear it now, Nick. I hear it.
Yeah.
Now.
So
and then she goes
Godzilla
and she turns
comes out
into
of the
crabs.
Yeah.
She turns into crabs.
And then
SpongeBob comes and Patrick's there.
SpongeBob and Squidward are there.
And then the Flying Dutchman makes him tie a knot
on a parachute, and I'm okay with that because I've watched the rest of the fucking trilogy up until this point.
But the moon changing, I won't stand for it.
Moon.
What you're trying to say. What you're saying is that the Pirates of the Caribbean movies have already previously established that they are ridiculous and have ridiculous magical rules.
Yes.
Everything Is Illuminated is realistic. It doesn't have pirate magic, so you can't do stuff like that. But
I want that to be your letterbox review. Everything Is Illuminated. 6 out of 10 doesn't have pirate magic.
Doesn't have pirate magic. Holy shit!
Or no, actually, it just doesn't establish.
Dude, the first Pirates movie
establish it.
And then
first 2.
Watch the third
one.
Because the third one's really good. There's lots of pirate magic.
I like the third one more than the second one.
Even with all that shit. The second one, the cliffhanger on the second one, gets me every time.
The second one's good. The third, like the final act of the second one, is pretty great. But I think the third one's like solid all through. But the first one is just on a whole other level. The first one is like just great.
It's a masterpiece.
Yeah, it's so good.
So getting back to the movie we actually watched,
no pirate magic. No more mention of pirate magic.
Bullshit. There's no pirates.
They just didn't establish the pirate magic early enough to make it believable.
Right. Yeah.
Later on.
Okay, that
I
makes
also
sense.
They use
I'm down.
Nazi magic.
I'm on with it.
Where you can
You
deflect
can change
bullets
the phase of the moon.
with your skull.
So yeah, speaking of if the moon is if that's like a representation of a change in the grandpa, I also the dog was as well, because the dog is like really like, what do they say, distressed, or they say disturbed, and he's like
Deranged.
I
jumping
think
on the
distressed.
wall.
Deranged.
Oh yeah,
deranged.
Yeah.
And then he's at
I
the
think they say
table with
distressed
his.
too.
That's what he's. That's what.
Yeah, they
Oh,
describe
they
Jonathan
say
says.
Jonathan is. They
Yeah,
say
he's-
Jonathan is distressed.
Yeah.
a deranged
But the
seeing eye
dog
bitch.
at the beginning is just like rabid, like jumping up against the wall and like.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, at the end, and he like doesn't like. He doesn't like. Grandpa doesn't like Jonathan, and then at the end, they're like,
Jonathan.
he loves
Jonathan.
the dogs.
Yeah.
Jonathan Meowvich. I don't know. I'm mixing together all the.
Well, I mean, it does
love
it
it.
does have that part where like, you know, the dog won't leave his door when they're like
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
hostile or wherever they're at.
Yeah, and that's right
was
after
Elijah
the
Wood's
grandpa sees the picture.
Yeah.
For the first time, and he kind of that's when he first has like a change
Oh,
of heart
yeah.
a little
Yeah.
bit.
Oh.
Because
okay.
it's sort of
Yeah.
established early on that the grandfather has been doing these tours mostly as a way to like
Cope or
basically
something.
to get money out of wealthy Jewish Americans who
Oh,
want to feel
or
like
that.
they're
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Cause he-
reclaiming their culture, or like they're going on this these they're like yeah you're going on this spiritual journey. Okay, cool, you're rich, pay me. Like
Yeah,
that's
he's
the whole
trying to take advantage of them because he hates, like he's trying to bury
Hates
his
his
past the
own-
whole time.
He's like,
Yeah,
yeah, you're
past,
some
yeah,
American like Jewish kid, and you've got money, so yeah, we'll go on
He's
this
Clayton
tour.
Bigsby,
And then he
but-
sees the photo, and that's when he realizes, oh wait, I might know what's going on, or I might know this person. I think the grandfather has a change of
okay.
heart, and then
Yeah.
decides he's actually going
Yeah,
to help him.
interesting.
yeah,
Um,
Huh.
yeah. Once
Yeah,
he like
'cause
recognizes
he has
the
the
people.
conversation after they turn the lights off, saying, "This is a good guy. We should help him."
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's immediately after the first time he shows them the picture and shit. Yeah.
See,
Yeah.
y'all are making this movie make so much more sense now. Holy shit! If you can explain
oh,
the moon
yeah.
thing, why the moon changes face.
Well, yeah,
Greatest movie
actually,
of all
I
time.
was
thought
gonna
it was
say.
a decent explanation.
I
I
tried.
was gonna
I
say. Yeah, at the very
Mine
beginning,
is I don't
you might have
remember.
missed
So
it. In one of those boxes, he actually had Davy Jones's heart in it. So like,
yeah.
that establishes the magic.
Oh, I was gonna say with the dog being connected to him, they have dog magic in the movie, but no pirate
Oh, okay.
magic.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
Can you put Pirates
He's-
1 in the cup, please? I put Pirates 1 in the cup. You should.
I feel we'd have to do the trilogy. No, we could just do the first one probably.
I have
Well,
not seen
yeah,
it in so
it
long,
stands up
and
on
I
its
would
own.
have to do
got
an
a
entire.
hankering for it.
Yeah,
Yeah, the
if I-
first one. Yeah, that'd be.
I would have to watch all three if we did that.
They made
I
a
feel like
fifth
I would
which is
one.
probably
fine.
have to. They did, and it was not terrible. The fourth
Well,
one
I
I
haven't
think is
seen it.
pretty. The fourth one I think is pretty bad.
Yeah.
Fifth one
What's
was
it
pretty
called,
decent.
though?
The
need to
the
watch
most
the
recent
fifth
one
one.
is. The most recent one is Dead Men Tell No Tales.
What was the other one?
Yeah. On Stranger Tides.
That's the one where they go
Oh.
to the like.
That's the Fountain of Youth, and
Fountain of Youth,
it
yeah.
was really It
Yeah.
was really weak, but I thought Dead Men Tell No Tales was pretty decent. Javier Bardem is Cortez. He's like the new undead bad guy, and I was like, "Hey, it's Javier Bardem's. He's pretty. He plays good villains. I don't know. I
Yeah.
thought he was pretty good.
This one's
and
on
it
me.
felt more like the. I'll say it felt more like the first one because they kind of just abandoned. There's no Orlando Bloom or Keira Knightley. It's almost like they're like a soft reboot. There's a new young couple. It's good. We got back on Pirates of the Caribbean.
That's what I was
don't
just
know
gonna
how it
say.
happened.
It's my bad,
God damn
but
it.
we're talking about pirates again. you just like went off too. You were gonna go. I can see it.
Because I thought it wasn't.
I
But
I
I feel like a
suggested
lot of
putting it
people
in the
slipped
cup.
on it.
I
That's
want
true.
I want to
We're
I
all to
want to
blame.
know more about Orlando Bloom and Keira Knightlly and their son. that you
Wait,
can only see
no,
every
we
10
just
years.
stopped this. Shut up. We can't.
Need to get back
This
to
is
that. I need to see
chaotic.
more.
This
Oh, it is their
chaos.
son. It is their son. Okay, let's go.
This is
That's
this
the
is
that's the
most
young guy.
chaotic
I
episode
forgot
we've
about
done.
that. It's their son. Okay, next, move on. He's the main
Yeah.
character in the fifth one. Their son is the main guy in
Oh,
the fifth.
neat.
Let's move on.
Great.
Okay, I have to
Okay.
watch
Keira Knightley and Orlando Bloom's son, main character in the fifth movie. Dead Man Tell No Tales. Let's move on. Come on, keep going.
Great.
Okay, let's go.
Great.
Okay.
Their son, he's
So
the
TJ
lead
got the
character.
last word.
He teams
So-
up with Jack Sparrow. Let's go. Let's move past it.
How do you mute? I'm gonna mute him.
The main character in the fifth one.
So let's talk about the medium. How you can telling different same story in different media in a different medium.
Oh,
Yeah.
So
Because we've all read the book, right?
yeah, that's the thing is I haven't read the book.
Right.
The
Yeah.
Pirates
and
book?
and
Uh-huh.
but when they do the when they establish how fucking nuts his collection is,
Yeah.
and there's just this frantic pace that they're just showing different the whole fucking wall and little pieces.
Yeah, they're like,
And each person, then all their fucking shit, and then another person, and then all of their shit. Just keeps going, and then it's the grandpa, and it's just that one amber, jewelry,
Yeah.
and then you're like, and then it's then it stops, and then you're like, whoa. But
yeah,
yeah, and the pacing
Yeah.
of that, where how would you do that in a book when what you literally have to do is list all the things on his wall and describe them, and that's the part of the book that you have to read the paragraph 5 times because you zoned out,
yeah.
because he's just
That's
That
right.
might
describing
be
That's
how he
the
does
wall.
it. That might be how he does it.
That's the fourth book of the Iliad, where it's just a list of all of the kings and all of their ships and
Yes.
whatever, just over and over again. Yeah.
So I think that I thought it was neat. Hey, this is a movie, so they have the power to control the pace more
Yeah.
than you.
And I do feel like the first 15-ish minutes of it, because I think once you meet Alex, the movie kicks into gear
Takes off,
once you meet
yeah.
Alex.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like a record scratch. You're almost going from one culture to you're literally going from one culture
Yeah.
to another, because it's him looking at all of these relics of the past and his grandma.
you're going from waning gibbous to full moon. Just
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, we
Nice.
figured it out now. But it's mostly silent too. I feel like the only line is him saying "Grandma, who is Augustine?" That's the only line, and then it's purely visual, showing all of the things on the wall, the dentures, and then the picture of his grandfather. So it's that is how I've lost where I was going with this. But
It's-
No. Yeah,
it's
you're
kind of
good.
like your Elijah Wood is your Curse of the Black Pearl, and Alex is your At World's End.
All right.
Oh no, we got to steer this ship the other way.
Oh no.
Out of the maelstrom.
Yes.
that's a good point. You can do that in a movie, but it's a lot harder to do in a book.
Yeah, I mean, in
Yeah,
the
no,
book,
that
it
was a
could have
good
just
example
been
of that.
it could have been one sentence. It could have been one sentence. It could have been one page. It could have been for most of his family members, he had a bunch of weird, creepy shit. But for his grandpa, he only had one thing, and it was the necklace.
Yeah.
Or it could have
That
been like
wasn't
you said,
even
and he's
his.
listing everything off.
I mean, that would have been a good. I feel like that could have been a good chapter end. You get a whole page of all of these relics.
That's how I'm picturing it. Yeah.
And then for his grandfather, it
Grandpa.
was simply just a picture of him standing on the wall, standing in a field with a woman.
Yeah.
Next chapter, Alex chapter.
Yeah. Okay. So it's it's the same effect, but kind of backwards. So in the
Yeah.
movie, it was a fast pace going through all of this stuff, and then it slowed down. And then it kind of when you saw the jewelry on the wall, and then
Yeah.
but then with this book, it's you're going through this really slow thing, and then you're like, wait, what? Something's different. What?
I didn't get too deep into. I just kind of read because there's not a ton on the Wikipedia for the book, or the movie really, but
Yeah,
it's-
it doesn't say if the grandma dies. I checked.
yeah, I checked that too. Yeah.
It's in the trivia.
but it. What was I gonna say? Oh, I think it's slightly. It's not exactly. It might be kind of from Alex's perspective, but the way that the idea that I got is that it's more if you guys have ever seen The Godfather Part 2, that's kind of what it seems like to me, where it's it's also tells the grandpa's story. It's not just little flashbacks or little things you hear, but I think
Yeah.
it's it alternates. It tells Elijah Wood's story, and then like the next chapter will be about his grandpa, and it kind of like goes back and forth between them. So it's kind of a different thing. So I don't even know if it's told from Alex's perspective and stuff.
Well, that's
interesting.
I think it is told from Alex's perspective in so much that he was just there observing it. That's why he ended up being the writer.
Yeah,
So-
but the book is, I don't know. That's another
Yeah,
thing
I know.
because
I
it's
know
like
what
an
you mean.
autobiographical sort of thing too.
Yeah.
Which did he write a book about himself from the perspective of the person who was there with him? Or I
No,
don't know.
he's
It is
admitting to
weird,
plagiarism. He just took the entire book from this guy he met in
Yeah,
Spain,
as
'cause,
like opposite
fuck
of
is that
Return
guy
of the
gonna do?
King. It was like Alex giving Frodo the book of the red book of the Westfold and being like, the rest is for you.
Yeah. Well, no, he
He's
just
like by Samwise Gamgee.
Yeah.
I'd like to imagine that there's an actual like fucking like tour guide in Odessa, Ukraine, and who's like has like a normal, accent, like he's well understood, very articulate, and then
Yeah.
this movie comes out and he's like, fuck Jonathan. Fuck that
Yeah.
guy. I'm not like that at all. That's racist as shit.
yeah.
Yeah.
This is gonna ruin my business.
Yeah.
And then full circle, he ends up having to like put on that whole character just to like.
Yeah.
'Cause then you
full
get the
circle,
tours and-
like the full moon.
Yeah. Yes, and like the maelstrom is like a full circle.
It all connects. It all connects. Full circle,
Keeping it all
like the motion that Nick's eyes are making as he rolls his eyes, bringing up his shit again.
Also, everyone listening or watching.
My
Full circle.
my last note was like, man, I really don't have a culture, do I? That was like my last note.
Man, the
'Cause, like-
plight of the straight white male, right, guys?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I mean, I guess in some ways it did. Yeah, I was because like, what am I? If I were to like look at my ancestry, I'm like vaguely European, maybe German, probably.
Right. Yeah.
But it's like,
Oh, so
I don't
you
know,
can say gypsy then.
So what?
So you can say gypsy
Exactly.
then.
No, I'm
Oh
not
my
gonna
God.
say. You know what? I'm gonna be the only one
he
who's
said enough
not.
words in his past.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
have that.
Mm.
That's
That's
part of your
true.
culture.
Yeah, you never. Okay, great, great.
That
great,
that
thank
and
you.
drinking beer out of fancy
Well, it's-
glasses.
Saying all of these words, that is the culture that we
we
are born
we're the
from.
culture that can't say
Oh.
those words.
Oh my God.
But
That
still
used
do.
to it. Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's. I don't know. I feel like a lot of people. I don't even. I don't know.
No,
It was-
I feel
it
no,
was-
that's a real thing. I feel
I get
you.
what you're saying. Yeah.
I'm not saying it from. I'm not saying it from the perspective of someone who's like, I wish I had, but it's like that sort of like, I guess, ancestral reverence type thing, like stories passed down from generations, and like, I guess like my grandma does have a lot of like family photographs from like her side of the family, so it's like. But like those sort of like cultural norms and like traditions, I straight up like don't have any of that kind of shit. And I'm not saying it like a good thing or a bad thing, but the movie just like made me think
Threw it in
about
your
it.
face.
Just like
Okay.
You sound like Troy from Community, the episode where he joins drama and the absence of pain is pain.
So I've thought about this. Being a straight white guy in America, not having a culture, and then like, booyah, turns out I'm not straight, so I get a
You
new
lucky son
culture
of a
that can be
bitch.
mine, and it has all and there's all these stories and all this
Interesting,
history.
yeah.
That's
That's a different kind of like cultural
Yeah.
history than like what you're like. Oh, I'm saying like
yeah,
No,
exactly.
no.
I didn't
T
get
is
it
like
from my, I
different from
didn't
like
get it from my
ethnical
family.
or whatever. Yeah,
I thought you were
But-
going
Yeah,
someplace
it's-
else. I thought you were going someplace else. That's why I was like,
What did you
oh.
think I was saying?
I thought you were going to say cultural appropriation. I was like, whoa. Whoa.
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
I didn't get
No.
it from my family. I'm getting
Yeah.
it from
Yeah.
these people that I shared this experience with. And so in the same way, I think, like, for the rest of us, just being a working class person who's not like this some like capitalist pig or whatever, exploiting people and shit. Like
Making paper
that's
clips.
I think that's a shared experience. Like having to work for a living and then like, is a shared experience that we all have. And I think you like that counts as a culture,
Sure.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
and,
I guess.
and
being
we
boring
make it ourselves.
is-
And like, yeah, all our parents are like conservatives and reactionary and bullshit, so we don't get it from them.
Yeah, that's something
But we
we
get
can
it from
share.
each other. And like, there's a history of like working class struggles like throughout the world that you can like claim as your heritage, I think.
Sure. Wow.
Yeah, not having pain, so not allowing others to have pain or acknowledge their pain. That's our heritage. Yeah.
Fuck you. No, that's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying at
No,
all.
no, no.
I'm
That's
saying...
not, no. I'm saying the old like
I don't-
you were talking about the old people and their
Oh yeah.
their shit. That's their
Yeah.
the heritage that has been passed down from them, or the attempt that has been made.
Yeah. So So like I strongly reject my actual heritage, because there's legit slave owners in my family tree. Like if you're a white person in Texas, that's just kind of how it is sometimes. And
I bet if my ancestors
like-
weren't poor, they would have been too. So like that's kind of it's either
and
if you're American, it's either you're slave owners or you were too destitute to own people.
well, and like some of the fucking like China, that like my dad and his sisters like inherited from their parents is like straight up like Confederate imagery like on the plates
Okay.
and
okay.
shit.
Yeah.
Not the country, the dishes.
Yeah, I was confused there for a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, wait, huh?
Yeah. I'm Chinese. No.
Like 100%. I don't have any culture.
And so it's like, and like there's a culture associated with that, and honestly, I used to really identify with it, not in the like racist way, but in the sort of like
Patriotic.
revisionist, like, oh, they weren't that racist, it's a lost cause, they wanted states' rights, that kind of thing. We had our own culture, and they took it from us, kind of thing. And like I like that resonated with me as it, when I was a lot younger. And then I learned that actually racism was actually like the whole thing. And then kind of rethought all of that. And so Jonathan Safran, Jonathan, whatever the fuck his name is,
Jonathan.
Yeah.
Jonathan.
Yeah,
Elijah Wood.
Jonathan.
I like, back to Nick's point, like he had this heritage that he like inherited and was able to investigate and like take pride in, and that's something that we can't do, really. I mean, I can a little bit, because like my grandpa on my mom's side like was poor and like grew up in Appalachia, and like like they had to move down the mountain in order for him to go to high school because he was so bright and stuff, and like that's like an exciting like story, so I guess there's that little bit of heritage for me. But like so much of it is like the oppressors, and it's like I don't like that.
Yeah.
But and so like so yeah, we were talking about like how Elijah Wood has that heritage. But notice too, since we're talking about rejecting heritage, that's exactly what the grandpa did. But he did it.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
But he didn't do it out of disgust like I do. He did it out of fear.
Yeah, well, I think
And
that was
shame.
okay. So that was like
it
another
made
part of the
both.
movie that I I can't tell if the movie intentionally wanted it to seem like which you're confused as to which side the grandfather was on.
Too. Yeah,
because
it was
because there's like a scene where like it does that thing with the grandfather's eyes, and it's like it's obviously going into a recollection, and then you see like the guy like loading up the gun, loading it, and then you see like the Star of David on the person's coat, and I think I was watching it, and I was like, oh shit, was the grandpa one of the people that like obliterated this village? And then later on it's like you find out, but I think the movie was intentionally trying to like,
I think so.
Yes, it
make
absolutely
it be like, oh,
I 100% thought that.
Yeah, tied with his anti-Semitism, like absolutely.
Yeah.
That's what they were trying to make.
And because I mentioned that, and I was like, oh wait, oh no, he was one of the people who lived in the village, and Claire was like, well, yeah, but she's seen this movie a lot more than me. She's like really likes this movie. I think it was actually her. She was the one who had like told me to add it in. So I wasn't sure. I was like, wait. The way she responded, I didn't ask her about it, but I was like, wait, was I supposed to know that was that, or does she just know because she's seen this movie a lot more than me? But then I brought up and I kind of like talked with her about it after the movie about like what's the more interesting character, I guess, if he, because I was kind of like I almost would, I mean, this is like weird to say, but like in a way, like it would have been more,
I wish he was a Nazi.
Like, I wouldn't like the character, but yeah, like it
From
would
a
have been a more
storytelling
interesting,
more compelling story to you.
Yeah, I was like, if he was a Nazi, and then she was like, well, no, because it like ties their family history together. And I'm like, yeah, but I don't know. So I did want to bring this up, like what your guys' take was on that. Like, do you which side do you fall on? Like, because I don't know. I really liked it when I thought that he was a Nazi from a storytelling standpoint.
This is our most problematic episode that we've ever done. Holy shit. We were just...
I know.
All
People are going to hate the Pirates
slurs.
talk. I thought that him being Jewish was more compelling because
I'm right there with you.
Like it tied into her whole thing. Like what was her name? The old lady.
They never said her name.
They didn't? Okay.
I thought they did at the very end.
They showed like a letter with, I thought maybe it had, I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah, but it was in fucking like Russian handwriting. And
Yeah.
Augustina too.
So Sunflower Lady, she told her whole
Junior.
She told her whole story about how her, like the village, like they basically went around and said like, destroy your most holy religious text. And like
spit on the Torah.
Yeah, and rip it up, and it's like 300 years old or whatever, and like destroy it, and like they all did it, but her dad didn't. So basically, everybody else rejected it, and I think that like tied in with him like looking at his thing. He looked at it like with disgust too. So I think it was a little bit
like he
fear.
spit on it is the idea that he also
yeah. So,
what do you mean his thing? What's his thing that he looked at? The picture?
The Star of David, like on his coat or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
When he
looked
gets up
at it,
and
he was he was like afraid, obviously, but he also looked at it, and the face that he made was like kind of like disgust. Like he was like, this sucks.
Either way, like I don't know.
Yeah.
I ended up like split on it after thinking about it. Like, I guess both were.
I
good.
think the Nazi,
both were good options.
Him being a Nazi was too cliche. Would be too cliche.
Exactly.
The movie was.
This is a much more interesting story.
Because if he was a Nazi, it would have turned into like, oh, I forgive you, and like the implications of her being like, I forgive you for like slaughtering all of my. It's like,
well, or if she didn't forgive him, she was. Still
it would
like,
make
fuck
his
you.
death.
she just pulled out a gun and
sense.
capped his ass right there.
It would make his death make way more sense.
I've seen that movie, where the Nazi meets the Holocaust survivor, but I haven't seen the movie where the two Holocaust survivors who
survivors,
one who still holds on and like literally has a fucking museum in her house of the Jewish town she grew up in, compared to the guy who and then the Holocaust survivor who completely denies
He just rejected
any
everything.
involvement. Yeah, I think that's a story that I haven't heard.
Yeah.
And I think like, so Travis, you said like disgust, and I think maybe you're right, because like, yeah, I think he was afraid,
Oh, okay. I don't know.
but
didn't
I
notice
think
it
maybe like the maybe almost like he resented
Yeah.
his Jewishness for the trouble he got in because of it.
Yeah, like almost like he internalized it and like he blamed it for we deserve this, and then he became anti-Semitic.
That's fucked up.
Like I
That's-
said,
that's
he's like Clayton
fucked up.
Bigsby.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. And I think
Yeah.
that's like I said, I think that him being a Nazi and going through that whole thing would make his suicide make more sense. But there is still like, I don't know. It still kind of makes sense. I just think there's more of a stretch.
Yeah,
It
let's
did
talk
kind
about
of
his suicide.
take me a little. I don't know where it's going. Like it.
I was surprised by that.
I was I wasn't. I was like, oh, really?
Well,
That
I
was
couldn't
kind of my
tell if it
reaction.
was. I couldn't tell if it was real or if it was another like sort of, magical realism type thing or like a,
Like the moon.
Because
like
it
yeah.
did it show the
pirates.
flashback where he runs away and then it cut straight to him in the bathtub.
In the bathtub.
Right. Okay.
I those scenes are
Is that
very
how it
close
happened?
together.
I think
It's
so.
pretty close, yeah.
And then since the grandpa was dead, there was no more use for the moon, so it exploded.
It was gone.
Exploded.
It's gone.
yeah.
Blew it up.
Yeah.
Like fucking.
Wait, hold on. That's no moon. Ah.
What's that
Yeah.
anime with
Akira.
with the moon blowing up?
Well, he punches
Something-
a hole in the moon. That's probably what you're thinking.
Assassin teacher.
Assassination
Classroom.
Classroom.
Assassination Classroom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I was
where they
thinking
blew up
Akira,
the moon.
But
Yeah, so the suicide, like, so normally in films where suicide happens, there's an element of like shame or self-loathing in the character to drive them to suicide, and like that's like the angle that we're approaching this from, right? We're like, oh, he's ashamed of his Jewishness, but then he like finds it again. But then there's the line where Alex says like he's at peace for the first time in his life,
Yeah.
and so it's like, what does that mean?
well,
I think
'cause see,
because
I
it
forgot
was-
they. I was just gonna say. Go ahead. You
I
go.
got
James.
up.
No, I was
got the
doing that
book.
intentionally. I think that he spent like basically his entire life after that moment denying his entire like heritage, his whole thing. And then he finally was like acknowledged it and was willing to do what her dad did, which was not hide from it. So he almost felt like he needed like to kind of like
Well,
be square with everything. He needed to kill himself or something.
It's almost like closure, I would say. Like yeah, I think he was like continuing to live, if not like spitefully. Like I think he was he's continuing to live, even though like I think deep down he's like I probably should have died, and
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Okay, this is
and
what
I think in
was gonna
some kind of morbid way, it's almost like closure for him. Like
Yeah.
he
Like
goes to this
reclaiming his
thing-
identity is like
Yeah.
participating
in a way, yeah.
Okay.
the victim.
So I was gonna say I don't know.
Cool.
I'm guessing based on like how Nick was just phrasing that they didn't say this in the movie and this was just from Kalia. So this is not. I can't take credit for this, but the way that she explained it, and I don't think the movie again, it may have been in there, but was that he basically. I think like he shut this away his whole life, but it's obviously been like kind of torturing him to some degree his whole life. And like
That's why he's like such a
reopening this,
curmudgeonly asshole about stuff.
yeah, and reopening these old wounds, like again, dealing with this all, it's like he he felt like he should have died back then.
Yeah, that's like
That's
exactly
what happened
makes
to
sense.
his people.
Survivor's guilt.
And that's why he lived a life of denial. Was what his whole life. Okay, you just tell me.
Just
Okay.
get
Get
her
Leah
on the
pod.
mic.
Yeah.
Get her on the
Yeah.
mic.
What's
And
her
that's
Twitch
why
handle?
that's why he even like he killed himself like in like the area or whatever, because he died like, and he was buried with his people. So that's why he was at peace, because he was like, yeah, this is what I've been running from my whole life. Almost like you guys have seen Last Temptation of Christ. It's kind of like that, like the ending of that movie.
Or like the ending
with
of
Jesus.
Like the ending of Titanic. Like Rose goes back and she's telling the story of Titanic, and then she dies like right above the Titanic.
Because that's all she needed.
Because she should have died with Jack. She should have let him on the fucking door.
Yeah.
Come on.
There's plenty of room.
Plenty of room.
I think I think initially when I saw like the grandfather like in the bathtub, I was like, oh shit. But I think the shock wore off, and it was more of like something I was like, okay, I understand why he made this decision. And I guess what is so funny, what do you
Russ keeps doing that.
I'm sorry. I just keep having. I don't want to interrupt. I just have like jokes in my head. I keep thinking people are gonna say other things. I'm just picturing other things.
Oh, okay.
You just
Yeah,
started
but,
talking
like,
about the
yeah.
grandpa tub, and yeah.
I think it's more tactfully done as a suicide scene. Like, it's not gruesome, and like it's implied, which is still can be like, a triggering thing for people. But I think, like when he's like, yeah, he really seemed like he was at peace. I don't know. I guess it felt justified, and I don't know if that's like the right word to
It's
use.
a little bit
but it's like,
glorified.
I don't know about glorified. I think that was like the summation of his character arc. I think,
It's like
I was about to say, I think,
you finished your character arc. Now kill yourself.
and that's a scene wrap on Grandpa. No, I mean, I guess I was almost gonna say it was beautiful, which is maybe a little glorifying-y, but like.
Yeah.
It was
It's
like
a beautiful
it was like
thing. Are you saying it's a beautiful thing for a Jewish person to kill themselves?
Oh.
Yeah, he was,
Is that what
he
he's
was
I gotta go.
specifically saying-
Oh. Okay, I think I need to leave the pot. I need
Oh
to
my
leave
god,
now.
no.
Third time.
No, but I think
See, that's why I just do this. Or just keep that
let's
inside.
just keep
I
let's
don't
just keep
say
those
it.
thoughts.
To practice.
Let's just keep those thoughts. No, I don't know. I thought it was thematically it was a fitting departure for that character. You kind of see the hero's journey like in the grandfather throughout the whole movie. Like, starts out one way, has like a huge change, and then ends up completely different. Except his hero's journey ends and
Yeah.
doesn't renew.
And I like how they do it. It's like in the background. Like you don't even really know it's happening because you're kind of focused on Jonathan the whole time. Like, oh, this is about him. This is about him. And then by the end of it, it's like, oh, wait. No, it's the grandpa the whole time. Like he's kind of the whole thing.
Yeah, he's kind of the secret, the piece
Yeah.
that holds everything together.
Yeah, I don't know. It kind of seems like to me like the only reason that he killed himself was so that you could have the cool shot of both of them throwing dirt on their grandparents, graves at the same time.
That's the only
Like
reason.
they needed him to be dead for that
So
shot.
he's saying it was an elaborate
For
setup.
that symbolism. So he killed himself so that that part could happen.
Yeah,
I-
the guy's
I- no,
actually
I guess,
still
like-
alive in real life, and he watched the movie and was pissed.
He goes on.
Yeah.
The grandpa. See, I'm not convinced by all this stuff y'all are saying about the grandpa's suicide. Because to me, like, he goes on this like redemption journey. He like faces the culture that he abandoned.
Mm-hmm.
And he's even face to face with the witness, the one person who witnessed his like betrayal of Judaism,
Mhm.
and like that's completed now, And so I think a fitting end to that is not suicide, but going back home as a changed man. Where's that aspect, you know? Like he's got, you know, an a shitty son and like family situation who have inherited his anti-Semitism, you know. And like
I think Alex changed. I think Alex changed a little bit too, because like when they're burying him, he's wearing a yarmulke.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
they
Alex
all
for
are.
sure.
Is he?
Yeah.
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 Yeah,
I'm
he
not,
is.
Alex is
Yeah.
the grandson. I'm talking about Alex's dad is the shitty person.
Oh,
Is
well,
also
yeah.
Alex. They're all Alex.
they're all Alex.
They're
Oh,
all
yeah.
named Alex.
Yeah. See, yeah.
And even Alex's brother, Alex.
yeah.
Yeah.
Junior.
Alex's mom is named Alex.
Alex-
And she has a
Alex-
mustache.
Alex-
Was
Yeah.
anybody else
Alexandra.
really put off by
Yeah.
that?
No, I was like
was gross.
I was like, oh, that's
Well, I
very
brought that
apropos from what I
Yeah,
would like
that was
imagine
funny.
of that. Shit, you said something that made me think of something. I don't know.
Take your time.
Cool.
We'll just cut this
Alright.
part out.
Well,
Let's
I
cut
don't.
this part out.
I don't know. I guess I don't necessarily. I think the grandfather was at peace with, and I think he finally felt like, because I think he thought that he was supposed to die. He's like, okay, you know what? I can accept this, and like, now I don't know. I don't know if he necessarily has the burden of like changing the world or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
I guess I thought it was more of like a personal thing for him, like a personal development, and maybe through this.
Okay. I agree with the whole changing the world thing. Yeah, but how about like being Jewish again? You know, like living in that heritage now. Like
Accepting
now
it,
he
yeah.
can, you know, go to the synagogue and wear the tassels and shit. You know, like I don't know if they still do that. This is I'm being racist again. But like he can, you know, participate in the culture again. Like that's a thing that is open to him now that he's accepted this. And he's gone on this journey.
I get I don't know. I'm not. I get what you're saying, but I'm not as like. I also. I'm not as upset by the suicide as you. Like I guess I understand it a little.
Yeah.
And, you know, maybe
Kelly
it's a thing
hated
where
it.
like if he had been, you know, if they hadn't let him like slip away and do that, and you know, if he hadn't have let's say if he didn't have the opportunity to commit suicide like in that like the days after that, and he had more time to assess, maybe he wouldn't have killed himself, and maybe he would have tried that. But I think like just being in his feelings like that, like right after dealing with all that, sometimes it's too much. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kelly
So you
was,
think
she was like in a
there was
pissy
so you
mood.
think there was pain still that drove him to suicide?
oh, for sure.
Okay,
I
because
think
I was
so.
getting I was getting the impression that it was like, job well done, life over.
No,
You
no,
You know,
no, I
there's
get
nothing
that.
else I
There
can
was-
accomplish now
there
because I
was-
nailed it.
No, I
no,
don't.
no. He
I
still
don't
felt
agree
Okay.
with
bad
TJ.
about what he did. He felt like he should have died then. Like,
Yeah, but
I don't
not
think
in,
that's
like,
a good thing. Like,
I'm not in. I don't. I agree with more with Moose in this part. I think it was like they said he's at peace. So like maybe there was a part of it that was that, but I don't think it was a big. Actually, probably the
I
biggest
think
part
he's
was
at peace now that he's dead. Like he wasn't at
Oh,
peace
so the
when he
I
was
the
thought the
decision to
act
commit
of it
suicide
doing-
wasn't the piece. It was the being dead that was the piece.
But his issue with it is that like, why did he kill himself if he already had the closure?
because the way that he like cradles
That's what
Alex the kid's face is kind of like, I'm at peace now, like I'm good now, and then like he's dead. It's probably
Yeah, I don't
because
think-
like he can't deny that he's blind because he clearly recognized the lady, like you could tell, so he can't fake being blind. So he's like, well, fuck this then. They're gonna make me do shit.
Yeah, Kalia just said also his family sucks. So like, why would he? go
Yeah,
back?
yeah. Why would you go back?
Except for
Good
Alex.
point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's the other thing about him being blind is like he fucking drives a car. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
they just like it's a complete facade,
Yeah.
you know.
Mm-hmm.
Which isn't really
Just like the rest of his life,
expounded on.
Oh.
I don't know. I
No,
just thought
that's
that.
good. I'm okay with that.
Okay,
I
cool.
can pick that up.
And that's
I'm taking what you're
why
putting down.
the moon changed.
That's what it was all about.
Oh, it was like his eyes were being opened.
Oh.
Hey, there you go.
There.
Fuck.
There you go.
I didn't even know what I was gonna say as I was saying that, and then after I said it, I was like, "Oh wait, that actually kind of makes sense."
So Sammy, so the dog, so Sammy Davis Jr. being Jewish in real life, foreshadowed that everybody else in the family was Jewish in real life.
Oh wait, nope, I'm not gonna say that one. Going right behind the hand. Not doing it.
So what's the verdict on the suicide? Where did we land?
I don't know. I'm just.
That like he
It
was
happened. That's where I fall. I think it's true. I think it did.
I saw it.
It's
I
kind of
don't
like
know.
that guy in
Evidenced
in-
and.
it's kind of like that guy that
Witnessed.
was in my Twitch chat saying how do you feel about the fall of the Roman Empire?
Yeah.
And I was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I'm pro, I guess.
It happened.
Like,
Yeah.
glad that it's
Yeah,
that it's
are we
over
pro
with.
or anti-grandpa suicide?
I think that a lot of this movie is like throwing curveballs a little bit. Like at first, like even the intro, like or even the poster, it's like you're kind of like, oh, this looks like a romantic comedy or
Yeah,
you know
like we were
something
saying.
weird. Oh, okay, no, it's like a really serious like Nazi, like World War II shit,
Mhm.
and then it's like the whole you think that he's a Nazi, but oh no, he's Jewish, and then. Oh wait, he's happy now. Oh wait, now he's dead. So I don't know. Like, I thought it
Yeah.
fit, but it
No,
was
like
it is a little bit like yeah.
Or no? No, never mind.
It subverted expectations like
A lot,
almost
yeah.
constantly,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but like
Yeah.
not in a detrimental way.
I think
Yeah.
before we quit, we need to talk about the theme of like objects like recording memories.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like and like why they were both driven to collect all that shit. You know, and then like, let's talk about the scene where they talk about the ring in the jar, and they're like, why did she put the ring in the jar? And so it's like, why did what was her name, Augustine? Why did Augustine put her ring in a jar and then in the ground? And then it's like, oh, and it, the guess is, oh, maybe she did it so we could find it. And they say, no, we're here finding it because it's here.
Because,
And I'm like, okay,
yeah.
that's a cute like wordplay, but also why that doesn't answer the fucking question why she put it in the ground. You know,
I mean, I know what you're saying, but I think it's pretty obvious. She thought she might be killed soon, and her husband was off looking for a place. Like he was off away, so he was like, I might die. I'm just gonna like hide this just so like if he comes back, he can find the ring. But
yeah,
no,
and like the Nazis don't take it.
yeah, Nazi, yeah.
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 Yeah. But yeah, like this whole. So yeah, I agree. Like I'm not actually upset that they didn't answer the question, but I think it's like she hid it so that Elijah Wood could find it and take it to Mount Doom in Mordor and destroy it.
See, I went a completely different direction, and I went to No Country for Old Men. He's like, 1958. It's been traveling 22 years to get here, and now it's here, and it's either heads or tails, and you have to say, now call it. The quarter.
That's fine. I was thinking of 127 hours because when he talks about like how the rock has been sitting, he's like, this rock has been waiting its entire life for this moment, and like so have I. When he's like cutting his arm off or whatever, he's like, this rock has been sitting here waiting for me for like thousands of years, and now I'm here to like deal with it or whatever. I don't know.
Holy shit!
Yeah.
In the movie, but,
See,
yeah.
I was thinking of Green Lantern because there's rings in both.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That's
Good.
probably the best one. Out of the
Yeah.
four.
There's Jack Sparrow wears a lot of rings.
That's true.
Yeah.
The Maelstrom
Damn.
was a ring
It was a
That's good.
in the water. Water
and
magic.
Will and Elizabeth get married, and they use
Rings, probably.
The moon. The
Yeah.
moon.
it's a
Yes.
ring.
Ring. Mm-hmm.
The moon is a ring.
Sunflowers.
The moon
ring
is
shape.
in
Yes.
the moon is in both movies too. It's in Pirates and in
Holy
Everything
shit!
Is Illuminated.
You're right.
That's
Oh,
fucking
so
That's the
there's-
connection.
crazy.
They happen in
there's
the
the
same
link.
universe.
Yes.
This is
They
the
happen in the
Everything
same
Is Illuminated
universe.
cinematic
Yes.
universe.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think these
the
came out the
actual-
same year. The first one of
Yeah.
or
And
it
the
was somewhere around there. So yeah, they probably.
yeah, and
Yeah.
one of the flashbacks, he's just Jack Sparrow. He's just like
Yeah, no. Elijah Wood is
Standing
one
on
of
the
the
bottom
little
of ship.
like clamshell guys on the Flying Dutchman ship. Like one of the guys like embedded in the. Yeah.
Elijah Wood had to get the ring. You already made that. You already said that, didn't you?
yeah.
I did.
yeah.
It did.
Shit.
It happened.
Come on. We got some
He
more.
was
Let's
putting
keep going.
barnacles in Ziploc bags.
Yeah,
On the Flying
that's
Dutchman.
right, yeah.
Okay.
That's how he
Okay.
ended up on there. Yeah.
Yeah,
okay,
that's
so back to the
that's where
theme.
his heart was the whole time, was just in
The-
Elijah Wood's bag on his wall someplace.
Yeah.
He's looking
Yeah.
for
There was
the chest the
no
whole
chest.
time.
It was a bag on his. On his
Yeah.
So this theme of like, the collecting and like what it has to do with memory and stuff, and so like, Elijah Wood's answer when Alex asked him, "Why do you collect shit?" Do you remember what he said?
He's like, because I don't
It
want
was
to
something-
forget.
Yeah, it's like I don't
Like,
want to
I'm
forget
worried I'll
it. Like in
forget or
case I
something,
might.
yeah.
I'm worried I'll forget. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so like this theme of like remembering and how
Mhm.
I don't know, it's like is it what's the deal? Is it the sort of cliche like remember the Holocaust so that nothing bad like this happens again?
No, I don't.
Because
no,
I didn't
no.
get that feeling from the movie.
no.
So like what's the
No.
point like why should we remember
I
shit.
I
think
think it's just
I
important. I mean,
think-
not my instincts are not necessarily just like
Originally.
with family history or whatever, but like I was just talking with Khalil about this last night, that like that part really like stuck out to me, because like I thought that too. Like I never do it because I think I'm like being too obsessive, so I don't do it. But like I often think like I wish I could just like record or like take pictures of like everything every day, because I fear I like have a really shit memory sometimes. And it I do think about that, about like, am I gonna forget this? Am I gonna forget doing this or going to this place or whatever? And
or
like,
these people?
yeah. And so like whether it's regarding your heritage or just like day-to-day shit, like I don't know, I got it. I feel that. I wouldn't carry plastic bags around and like fill up space in my house. Like I've only
Maybe you
ever
should start.
literally thought about like, photos or like video or stuff like that, but
Yeah.
same idea, I guess.
I think it's kind of like almost like a two sides of the same coin thing, whereas he's like almost like preemptively building memorials to people, because like they show all these pictures of people on the wall, and it's like like some of them were like his siblings or whatever. Like I'm
Yeah.
assuming they're not dead, and like those like he's like, oh, I have to remember this moment or whatever. But then when she does it, it's like everybody's either been killed
the
or
fact.
left besides me,
is
and this is
different, yeah.
all that's left of them, and it's like he's like
Yeah.
preemptively doing that almost.
Right. I think he does
That's a
that because
cool
that's the type
distinction.
of person he is. I think she does it
Yeah.
like if she wasn't the sole survivor of this town that was eradicated, she wouldn't be the person to obsessively collect things. But I
Right,
think she
right.
feels like she was thrust into that role, and she's like, well, people have to know about this,
Yeah.
So it's almost like a job for her, where it's more like it's
A hobby.
like a hobby for him.
Yeah.
I got the impression that Augustine's amber necklace or amber like pendant was like the start of his collection, because he was a little kid, he saw this cool thing, he's like, what is this?
Possibly.
And then his grandpa died, and then like it was tied to that moment of like I of losing him
Yeah.
that seemed
Well,
to like kick off this obsession.
Very, very possible. Very possible.
Yeah,
I
sure.
thought you were
I
gonna
just
say
think it's a
you
different
had
kind
the. I thought you were gonna say you kind of thought there was maybe dino DNA inside that
That's what I
grasshopper.
was thinking too. Yeah, but I mean, I still think that's like this kind of are like different reasons to.
I mean, I don't know.
collect.
At least,
I
at
don't
least
know.
for me, I feel like we all kind of do that in some ways. Like, we have like all of our videos online, and like whenever I watch them, I remember like, oh yeah, 2010, 11, 2012. Like, what I don't know. I guess I have a pretty good memory about stuff. My mind palace is pretty large in that in that regard. But like, yeah, I'll keep a lot of stuff around that like seemingly has like no inherent value, but it's like, yeah, I've got this like beer bottle from like a really good time in my life when I had when I had people over and we had like a great night or something, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily like huge sentimental things, like these like big important trinkets. So it can be as mundane as you want.
It's
yeah,
like
But it still
everybody has
matters to you.
everybody
the-
has a collection of concert wristbands or something.
yeah, right,
I have movie
For the
tickets
fair,
from the
yeah.
Hastings
Movie
4
tickets,
Oh, yeah.
dating back to like 2006.
I have a
Yeah.
shoebox full of them, and the ink
And-
is like gone.
Yeah, same. You like the videos, like YouTube videos, Grandpa Crane, whatever, is like a really good example because like if like say instead of that we were like playing pretend or something. I'm just saying like there was no record of it. Like we didn't film a video, but we were
Yeah.
still like doing that stuff. So like we're playing pretend doing this stuff.
Sure.
I wouldn't remember as much, but like having those videos, even though they're like like The Shining is like this story, it's what's on camera, but like just because I can see that stuff, that's the scripted thing, that's not reality. I remember that day. I remember I don't just remember like what we shot. I remember that day a lot clearer than I would if we didn't have a video and we just were like, hey, let's go to BK and pretend to shit ourselves or something. And same thing with like I actually did that a little bit with Zom when we did that a lot. I started doing journals, like diary entries where I would write down like who came that day, did we kill any zombies, who made it to the end, and blah blah blah. And the ones that I wrote down, I fucking remember the whole thing.
Yeah.
I remember the entire game. Like like I can picture it so much better. The ones that I didn't write down, people will tell me stuff. They'll be like, "Oh, do you remember that one where we did this?" And like, it's a fucking coin flip whether I remember it
That's
or it's
interesting.
completely gone from my mind.
The road trip.
Yeah,
The Dunes.
that's a good.
The Dunes.
Yeah,
The Dunes is an incredible document.
yeah, yeah.
Have we told you about that, Moose? All right, we
No.
got into like
This-
movie ratings.
Yeah,
but
this would
yeah,
have to
that's-
be a
no,
later conversation.
Y'all told Kelly about it, and I wasn't there. This was like
Yeah.
right when y'all
Oh.
met up, when we showed
Oh,
up.
Yeah,
in your
we went up
lives.
to the Sleeping Bear Dunes basically, and all of our technology, either like the batteries died, or what, like smartphones weren't a thing, and we literally had to use the stars to get back to my
That's
car.
awesome.
And there's like a part where like TJ was filming, and like you can't see anything because it's like it's dark. It is like advanced darkness up in the dunes.
If only you had
But
the
like
full
we're just
moon.
kind of
yeah.
because we're just like talking and shooting the shit, and like we're just like kind of slowly realizing that like we're lost. And like I just start laughing my ass off.
Yeah,
And
we
it's
were going
I don't know, it's
crazy.
just you had to be there, but like I'm glad that moment was documented, like this semi legit moment of mania that I had.
yeah.
Just real one last thing I kind of want to talk about the collecting thing. Maybe this is nothing. Maybe I'm thinking it too hard. But like what's another thing that's kind of interesting is she was collecting like the remnants of other people's lives. Shit, where was I gonna go with this? Like, or
Maybe
he's
she was-
he's what?
I was No, finish the.
He collects like mementos from other people's lives. Like what are like they're not mementos from his life, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Right.
Like
He's
like
trying
we
to
everything.
remember
Interesting.
Everything we were just talking
grandpa's
about,
life.
like wristbands, like that was
We have
something that happened to
first-hand
me.
experience.
Yeah, it's all stuff that happened to us. Oh, the videos, that's our thing. But he's like collecting stuff like
from
other
other
people's
people
life.
for
Yeah.
himself.
Yeah.
She's collecting more for like, I think she's collecting for other people.
Yeah.
Almost like
Yeah.
she was waiting for Baruch to show back up so she could be like, oh, hey, look at this stuff of yours.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
John Finn he collects for himself.
Yeah.
He wants to know.
60-year-old lost and found.
It's like totally different. Like he collects so that he can remember, so he can know this stuff. She collects stuff that she does know. She's familiar with all those people. This isn't like information gathering. She does. I don't know. It's like if
It's like
every
information retaining.
every like, I don't know, their means and their reasons for their collecting is just on totally opposite ends of spectrum in like every way.
Elijah Wood, like it's a rigid search for like learning this, like finding out about the heritage and like what happened. Like, so I have some thoughts about that, because like my grandma died a couple years ago, and she was like my last grandparent. And I remember thinking, like, I wish I could have talked to her and like found out more about like what it was like for her growing up and what her parents were like, you know, and like she's told me stories about her sister and the sort of like antics they would be up to and the relationship that they had, and like and like how her father was, you know, a piano tuner in Toronto, Canada during the Great Depression. And it's like those stories that are compelling to me, but like, are they compelling in a different way to say like how this story was compelling? You know, this movie, like, I like stories mean a lot to me, so like, but like, why does it matter to me
That's
that I
somebody
know
you don't know
what happened to
like,
my grandma in particular? Like if a story is a story, you know, like what, like I get like, oh yeah, I knew her, but yeah, I didn't know her dad, you know. I've never been to Toronto.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So like
I don't
why
know,
why
but...
do I have that compulsion to like imagine her life?
Yeah.
In the same way that Elijah Wood had this compulsion to imagine his grandfather's life.
Because she was.
Well, I think the movie sort of has the benefit of like a grandiose story, like a grandiose backdrop of like World War II.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of why it's a movie and not just a story that a guy tells to someone.
An event that everyone, like, not everyone can relate to, like being a piano tuner in Toronto, and not everybody can relate to being a Jewish person during World War II, but people know the story, I guess. So yeah, I think it's like a more universal thing. Even though like, you are interested in your own family history, I can't explain why I'm interested in mine, but like I don't like sure it's because it's my ancestors, but like why? I don't know. I can't get like into the psychology of it, but I am.
But honestly though, if you and I were to sit down and have a conversation about your family history, I would be enraptured by it. Because it's a story that's interesting, you know, and it's like, I mean, is it different
This
to like
passionately told.
how I feel about my family.
I mean, this is, Neanderthal lizard brains drawing on the cave walls, like
Yeah.
generation to generation stories being told. And and it's like if you feel a personal connection to a story, even like the way that you tell the story will. I mean, obviously, if you're like good at it, if you're a good storyteller, you can make. I can tell you a story about my mom living in Greece on a World War, not a World War II. No, my mom living in Greece on an Air Force base, and her being in Greece and seeing cars on fire because the perception of Americans at the time was not super positive. I don't know, stuff like that. It's like you can tell stories and make them, and I think because people kind of have that universal, I don't know how I'm trying to put this. I feel like we've seen so many movies and TV shows that we know the beats of a story. And I think even that's sort of subconsciously when we tell stories to other people, we know to hit those beats. We know to when I tell you, so there's a beginning, a middle, and an end if it's a good story. Mm-hmm. And I think even if it's not a feature film, if you know how to hit those beats and tell a story to someone, it can be super duper compelling.
Well, yeah, and if somebody you like or care about is passionate about something like their family history, you're inherently just going to be like, oh, well, I like this person. I like what they like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which is kind of interesting because I think it's a kind of a natural thing to be interested in where you come from. Essentially, that's kind of what the stories of your ancestors are. It's that's where you came from, ultimately. So Elijah Wood, another two sides of the same coin. He's studying where he came from, keeping these mementos from where he came from, where she keeps all these mementos where everybody came from. It's not just her family. It's everybody in this.
It's the community.
Yeah. It's kind of what I was.
Yeah.
That's
Okay,
really neat.
that feels like a wrap up then.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I
Everybody
agree.
just
Yeah,
going,
yeah.
That was a solid
Yeah.
Yeah.
conclusion.
Straight away
Once-
from our
once every one of us says-
language,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Pirates
yeah.
of the Caribbean.
What a thoughtful, somber ending for an episode that started with slurs.
Yeah.
I did, yeah.
That's
We
a
nailed
hero's
it.
journey if I've ever heard one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So who wants to do our first rating? Wants to go for it?
I don't think that I've gone first, so I feel
Do
like
it.
I
Do it.
should. Because I
Do
don't
it.
want to.
Do it.
I think I'm going to say 9. I fucking
Really?
loved it. I fucking loved it. I loved, I loved it. When we first started, I was I finished it and I turned the computer on and I was I kind of wished I would have watched this earlier so I could have just sat on this a little bit and just thought about it. I didn't really get that. But I was in my feelings when I first booted this shit up and I was that was fun. Any movie that gets me like that, it's that gets a couple number bumps from me. Yeah, but I was also I don't think there's not much to say about it. It was just they get in a car, they drive around, they say some funny shit, and yeah, it was good.
Okay.
I was gonna say 8.5, but I don't know. I feel like that's a cop out, so I just went full.
I think I'm sitting around an 8. I thought, I was pleasantly surprised with it. I thought it was, I laughed at least 5 or 6 times at some of the jokes, visual gags, or just Alex just saying shit. I'm gonna have Shaquille O'Neal stuck in my head forever. I thought it was
Shaquille O'Neal, the Los Angeles Laker.
yeah. I thought basically other than the main character, I thought all the other characters were charming and interesting and but I guess that's the point. I think Jonathan Safran Foer's character is almost just a blank slate at which culture is sort of thrusted upon him, and that's his whole journey.
Yeah.
The sort of twist about the movie end up being really about the grandfather and how all of their stories are intertwined and connected. I thought it was done in a really effective and thoughtful way. So despite Jonathan Safran Foer's weirdness with Natalie Portman, I'm Hey man, I've been there, right? I think I'm gonna sit pretty solidly at an 8 for me.
I also left my wife to pursue Natalie Portman.
Yeah.
Luckily, she took me back, so that was good.
I'm gonna go with 8 as well. Especially like when it finally clicked that like the grandpa was Baruch. Like it all like, oh my god, very compelling story all the way through. You know. I think this is the first movie that we've done that I legitimately like intend to watch again.
I might read the book.
Just like I might watch it again.
I kind of want to read the book now too.
Yeah.
I'll probably do the
I know
audio
Chloe's
book.
got it, so I might pick up the book and read it too.
Okay.
I just hate reading books.
This is weird. I don't know how Travis can deal with being the low baller. It's like 6.5 for me. I'm sorry.
That's just me.
Maybe 7. I'll decide when I actually do when I put it up on Letterboxd, but it's somewhere between.
No,
there
you have
for
to
me.
decide now.
Yeah.
6.75.
Yeah, you do.
I'll go 6.75.
perfect
So
perfect medium.
So speaking
Median.
of spouses leaving each other, Kalia,
feel so bad.
What's going on there?
Yeah, I don't. Kalia, what would you give the movie?
I don't know. I've always liked that movie, so I'd probably go with like a 7.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh wow, okay.
Okay. Said
What'd you
7.
say?
7.
She said 7.
I thought she was gonna give me shit for that rating, but
So
So
did
tell
I.
us why you
close.
hate this movie.
That's why I said she was gonna leave you.
oh, she said maybe an 8. She said maybe an 8. She can say 7.5. 7.5. Yeah.
Commit to an
Yeah,
integer, folks.
You know, we missed a lot of. I'm so surprised that you guys went so high. I especially thought Moose was gonna not, with all your like questions and like queries with the moon stuff, all that stuff.
No, that's just a
It
meme.
feels weird being the I hate being the downer.
Embrace
really?
it.
I guess
Travis was born in the darkness.
I
was
like
born in the
I
dark.
like liking movies. Sorry, I mean, and I did like it. There is stuff like, but I like liking movies a lot. I wish this was a 9 for me. You know, I wish every movie was a 9. Huh? Travis. Yeah. She's really interested to hear what all you guys rated it.
Because you're
okay.
so like defensive right now.
No, there's okay.
She's-
No, because we didn't touch on a lot of stuff because it definitely got better as it went along. When you get to the village, all that is pretty good. I said I thought that everybody, like the 3 main dudes, were all pretty great in their roles. I thought the grandpa especially killed it. I like where the story goes. I thought all that stuff was pretty impactful. I really felt like, especially early on, it was so like in your face with like visual metaphors and like story motifs that like there was like 1 or 2 instances where they literally like said like what they like. I thought they were just gonna like leave it with like like a little visual thing or whatever, and then somebody explained it, and it kind of ruined the moment.
Can you give an example?
I can't. I'm sorry. I wrote
So it didn't
that
happen.
down. I wrote that down, but I didn't write down an example. I'm sorry.
Fuck you.
Sorry.
See,
I'm
I
really
was
curious.
I
I
was
would.
gonna
That
say.
said, I would give this movie another watch too. It's weird. It's like it's in a weird middle ground for me.
Is it like Blade Runner when it's like the normal movie and then they have Harrison Ford come in and like narrate what his character is thinking?
It wasn't constant. It was only a few moments, and I think that's why the ending also surprised me so much. Was that like I felt like it didn't have that. It was more subtle with what was going on and all that. It just kind of felt like a different movie in a way, in like a
I
good
think-
and
'cause it-
bad way.
Because it started out really, really funny, and then about
Yeah.
halfway through, it took a turn, and I
And
was
I'm-
like,
I like
Oh.
that.
Exactly.
I like that
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. But yeah, a lot of my bigger issues was like earlier on. especially like the very beginning, I was really worried it was gonna be like, ooh, quirky, funny, but then it strays away from that. All this said, why hasn't Liev Schreiber done another movie? Like, what the fuck?
Is this the last? Is this
It's
like
the
the
only
last movie?
It's the only movie he's ever done. I checked his IMDb. He's directed 2 episodes of Ray Donovan, the Showtime series that he's the lead actor in. And then he's written. He wrote this.
recognized him.
He wrote this as well, and then he wrote a movie called Chuck, and then he wrote like a couple episodes of Ray Donovan too.
Is he mostly an actor?
Yeah. He's
in
in
Goon.
like a ton of stuff. He's
Pulled
in
Goon out of the cup.
He's in
He's in Goon.
he's Sabretooth in X-Men Origins Wolverine.
He's in Spotlight.
He's Kingpin in Into the Spider-Verse. He's in Isle of Dog. He's in a ton of stuff. Yeah, I mean that's what I know him as an actor. He's in Scream 2. But yeah, he's an actor. So it's like, oh, this is a movie directed by Liev Schreiber. It's the only movie he's done. Why the fuck hasn't he done more? Because there was a lot.
He's also in
it's pretty
Spotlight. We were talking about Spotlight last week.
Yeah, Travis mentioned that.
Yeah.
He, like, despite all of my qualms with it,
It's
bums
pretty
me.
competently done.
It really was. I'm really bummed that he hasn't done more. I would absolutely love to see another movie directed by him. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it is. No,
Yeah.
no. I do wonder because he is. I feel like he is kind of like personally because he's Jewish too, Liev Schreiber, and it was probably a story that spoke to him. But like, why?
Yeah, his maternal grandfather emigrated from Ukraine.
Oh, he's Ukrainian too. Okay, I just thought it was because he was Jewish, but I didn't know he was also
he
had
probably
ties
just
to
like
Ukraine.
really connected to it. Yeah.
Yeah, but like, there's other stories from Ukraine and other stories about Jewish people. Get on them, Liev Schreiber. Like, you're pretty good.
Yeah.
Wow, you're really pigeonholing him, huh? Typecasting.
Yeah, his brother's Pablo Schreiber.
By the way,
Pablo.
Kelly gave it a 4. She said the dog movie was better.
Uh,
She really
whoa.
did
Dog
not like.
movie was
She
better.
really hated the suicide. That like totally
Like, it
I think
ruined
that-
the mood. Really?
Pretty much, I think so. Yeah.
That was another
It
thing.
could.
Chris,
I'm
Chris,
surprised
what
that
the
it
fuck?
didn't for me. Honestly.
Yeah, that was another thing that I thought, like, why I was assuming you would have a little bit lower rating was because
Yeah.
it seemed like it like kind of
I think.
Travis and I thought
rest...
the suicide was great.
Yeah.
yeah
I
Oh,
love that he
suicide.
killed himself.
needs more
The-
Nazi
so
and
good.
suicide. Yeah.
Choice.
I think the rest of his story was so good that, like, in my head canon, like, it's just the movie ends like before he kills himself. You know?
I hate that.
What? That you just I just
Because
like,
that's
ignore
not where
part
the
of movie
movie
that I don't like.
ends. Can't just choose where it ends.
Well, for Moose, it actually ends when he saw the full moon. He was like, "Fuck this."
yeah.
That's why he had to have us fill him in on the story.
Yeah,
'cause
Uncut
he's like, "I
Gems
don't
has
know
the
how
greatest
this
ending of all time. I also have chosen where that movie ends.
Yeah, they win the basketball game and yay, freeze frame. That's it.
Yeah, same thing with Departed.
Yeah, yep. He captures Matt
Oh.
Damon. They're riding down the elevator, fades to black.
Yeah.
They won.
Real quick, and this we can shelve this for a later discussion. But there's like a trending thing on Twitter. It was more like a quote tweet thing on Twitter, but it was like quote tweet this with like a scene from a movie where it's like I'm dead and I know it. It's like a screenshot from a movie where a character would have that kind of thought.
Okay.
And I don't
Wait,
know.
like
I
literally,
thought
like literally, like I'm a ghost, or as in like I'm about to die.
I'm about to die, and like I saw a lot
okay.
from The Departed, especially
Oh,
like those scenes.
that's good.
I thought of Woody Harrelson with Anton Chigurh, like
Wait.
sitting in the hotel.
I've only seen that movie.
Okay, anyway.
Yeah. Anyways, all right. Now that we got
what
that
else came out in
shitty movie out of
2007?
the way,
You know what else came out in 2007?
Zodiac.
At
Zodiac.
World's End.
You
Ring
go
the
like
ring.
this, and then the
At
cross
World-
through it is the Zodiac sign.
No, At World's End. That's the Maelstrom.
No.
Oh, okay.
At World's End. Also Spider-Man 3. It's another one. I know that because
Where did that come
of my because whenever I think of Pirates 3, I think I have this string of statuses. I've like screenshotted it and reposted it. That like, because this was like right when I got Facebook. I had like a string of statuses where like the week leading up to those movies, I had like a status like once a day. TJ Taylor is pumped for Pirates. And then
Yeah.
TJ Taylor
Back when the
is pumped
is
for
was
Spider-Man 3.
mandatory.
And then it was like, and then like in between them, I had like pumped that he saw Pirates and pumped for
I've
Spidey.
seen that. I like as soon as you added me on Facebook, I scrolled all the way down and I saw every single one of those. Hilarious.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, it wasn't ironic either. It was just I was 14 years
Oh,
old
yeah.
and
Pumped.
I
Pumped to see
wanted
his
everybody to know, hey, have
That's
you
how
guys not
Facebook
heard of
worked.
these movies, Pirates of the Caribbean and Spider-Man? Well, TJ's here to tell you about them.
I have a feeling you're gonna like them.
GJ splash landed on Facebook to let everybody know about Spider-Man.
and that's where the idea for this podcast was born.
Yeah.
Yeah, because one of those movies was good and the other one was a dud.
Now I can tell
You're
you
like
what
the-
movie I'm going to be pumped for next week. Oh.
Oh,
No, what were you going to say?
we've really fucking
you're like
nailed
the-
transitions this time.
You're like the Burger King
Yeah.
foot lettuce guy. You're like number 10, Spider-Man 3.
The last thing you'd
Sam
expect...
Raimi's at it again.
The last thing you'd expect in your Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie is Venom, but it turns out that might be what you get. The last thing you might expect in your Pirates 3 movie is Elijah Wood from Everything Is Illuminated, but it turns out that might be what you get. Okay. All right. So,
What's the movie?
TJ Taylor is pumped for East of
Dogtown.
Eden, directed by Elia Kazan from 1955. The first of 3 movies starring James Dean.
Did I just hear Elia cheering in the background?
She did. She was very excited for that. Yeah, the first of 3 movies starring James Dean. Adapted from the J.D. Salinger or John Steinbeck. I always get those
John
guys
Steinbeck.
fucking confused. Adapted from a John Steinbeck novel. I've
Nice.
seen it a few times. Kalia's seen it countless times. I don't know. She's not gonna want to be on it, but I might if she wants to, like, maybe I'll have like something prepared. I'm sure she's got something to say about James Dean.
A written statement.
Oh shit. Maybe
He's
I
one of her favorite people. And I also like him quite a bit. I think he's a righteous dude.
Yeah, I don't think
Oh,
I've ever seen any James
Yes,
Dean.
I'm not.
shit.
I'm not gonna. I have sent it to you in the past, Travis. I'm not gonna tell you what it is, but there's at least a line that you are going to probably laugh out loud at.
Oh, okay, great.
and it's not necessarily like a funny line, but you're gonna like
yeah,
it. I mean, it's like, yeah.
You're gonna
I
laugh a
won't
little
say any more, but you will know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah, if you don't want to be spoiled for East of Eden from 1955, directed by Elia Kazan, watch it before next week. I think this one is also on HBO, I think, is where I found it. Yeah, TJ's pumped for East of Eden. Should be a good chat. I am actually
I think it'll be
excited
my
for
first James Dean movie, so that's exciting.
that. Sweet.
Yeah, I think it's mine too. I thought I watched one in film class, but I don't remember.
I think I do also have Rebel Without a Cause in there.
Okay.
So we'll maybe get to that one at some point too. Yeah. I had something else to say. Oh, we should be back on our regular day next week, presumably.
Yes.
No.
no,
Yes.
I get to push it back. Let me put.
Oh,
it back.
okay. Now it's your turn. No,
Oh,
you
okay.
you could save it though.
Oh, can
Yeah,
I?
keep it
You want to
loaded
save
in
it?
the chamber.
Save it for another time.
What do we get one per quarter or something? Like how does it work? Is it
Yeah,
do we
one
get
per-
rollover minutes.
One per 50 episodes, so it's a little less.
Okay. I might save mine up and do 2 like back to back or something like that.
Could do that.
Sweet.
Yeah. Episode
Or
15,
get
episode
7
15.
and then just push it to the next week, and so we have
Yeah.
2.
Yeah.
Oh
Sorry.
yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
my
There we
God.
go. Yeah.
So we do it for 4 hours.
Yeah. All right. Well,
4
this-
hours, 2 movies.
We're on the same team.
I guess my only question is, which one of you is gonna do a dramatic reading of Jonathan Safran Foer's emails to Natalie Portman?
Oh shit.
Word. We should have started with that. That
I-
should have been
Oh,
more
my
fun.
God.
Yeah, Nick, you can't bring that without. That's such a good point.
Well,
Yeah,
that's
I
the
would
next-
be
I
so
should have combed
fucking
through
bummed.
them.
Is it? Well, there's 2. Right? It's a correspondence, right? I'm assuming she responds.
Yeah.
So I say, I'm
Do a little roleplay.
hands up for Jonathan, and Moose can be Natalie Portman.
I'm down.
Okay, but we're gonna do it for the build for next week, right? The lead in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll
no,
comb
How-
through them
how-
and find
how
some
much-
juicy bits.
How many emails are there? Like, how long is this gonna take?
It's a New York Times article.
Ooh. Okay.
Oh, I have the article pulled up.
We should.
Okay.
We'll
Oh, that's
we'll,
not so
we'll
much.
proofread it. Maybe
that's
if
actually
it seems
pretty
like it has to
wild.
be.
You got to find
shortened a
those
little
good
bit.
bits. You got to find the good
Yeah,
bits.
let's we'll write up a script. One of us will be the narrator. Somebody can be Natalie Portman, and somebody can be Jonathan.
Yeah, whoever reads the like cliff notes or like the stage direction has to read it in Alex's voice.
Okay.
All right. Yeah.
The
so-
emails of Natalie Portman and Jonathan Safran Foer.
Jonathan.
Natalie Portman.
Okay. Okay. You just auditioned.
On the
and I
eve of
think you
2
got the part.
milestones. Her directorial
Stop.
debut.
Next week.
His first book
No, we gotta save. We gotta save. Gotta save.
We're almost at 3 hours now. This is like our
Yeah,
longest
dude.
one so far. Which
Is
is
it
really
really?
surprising. I did not expect us to go. We were like an hour in, and I was like, "Oh, we're kind of like wrapping up the movie talk already." Nope.
No, then we
Yeah.
got into like the philosophy of like remembering shit
And Pirates of the
like,
Caribbean.
heritage.
and Pirates of the
A
Caribbean.
few times.
And yeah, there's that too.
And then-
and the
And
physics
then
of
Pirates
the moon.
again, and then Pirates
And like
again.
Lord of the
it works.
Rings and
And then
um,
Pirates again.
okay, yeah. Still don't have an outro worked out perfectly, but this has been There Will Be Duds. And once again, I'm J-Spot Jack Cheese. And with me as always.
I am Dr. Funk,
I'm
aka
the
Nick.
And I'm the Super General, and with me as always.
I've been Moose, and I still will be next time, probably.
Great.
As always.
Take care, everyone. For the episode.
Goodbye.
We're still going to be doing the stream after, but take care. Bye-bye.